What's up, everybody? It's Wednesday, my favorite Wednesday of the week. Welcome to Void Jumpers. We're going to be playing some games tonight, primarily this one, Monster of the Week by Michael Sands. Pretty great book. Go check it out. We like to have space adventures, and we champion characters over other stuff, and this book helps us out. Okay, anyways, I got some cool news, everybody. We got a website. That website has been painstakingly designed and curated by Merc Workey, and it's dope. I have the URL right in front of me. It's just at voidjumpers.com. Go check it out. It's got everything. It'll help you catch up on the show, see who all the characters are, check out us, other stuff. There's some... I'm clicking through it now. It's really cool. Go check it out. Thank you, Merc. It really is sweet. She put it all together and just used a lot of the lore that we'd already established, and there's a bunch of links to other cool stuff and fan art on there because there's a lot of great fan art. I really do like it. All jokes aside, I think it's very cool, and we're very lucky to have it. So go check it out. All right, let's bring in the rest of my friends. What's up, everybody?
What's up, dude?
How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm okay. How are you really?
Right now, I'm well.
That felt like a very Bay Area re-ask. It's been a while. It's been a while since I've heard that, like where people won't let you just answer questions. You can't just say like, "Oh, I'm doing good." They're like, what Connor said, like, "But how are you really?" And it's like, how dare you presume that my first answer was disingenuous, and/or I'm like, wow, is this what you mean by microaggressions, by insisting to pry into my personal life?
See, I felt like a cornered animal. I thought, how am I going to get out of this?
Yeah, I think I owe an apology not only to Jesse and Casey and Trin and Lisa, but to all our viewers as well. I was just trying to be silly. I just thought we'd have a little bit of repartee at the top. I didn't realize the effects of my actions would be so.
It's not your actions. It was my trigger. I was Bay Area triggered, just like not having a non-dairy option at a frozen yogurt shop. It is merely, that's on me. That's on me. I apologize to you for needing to apologize to us.
Hush, push, hush, push.
Hush, push, indeed. All right. I think I got to find my notes. I'm on this fucking sweet Void Jumpers website still. I totally have been using it. I've had a little sneak preview link. I've totally been using it as I've been building this arc because I've been calling back to previous arcs, and there's just a bunch of information and characters on there and stuff. So I've actually been using it as a cheat sheet. It's very nice, very handy. Okay, I'm actually going to kick it over to Trin for Democracy Corner before we get started.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
It's me on the screen yet, but I'm going to talk like it is. Thanks for joining me for Democracy Corner. I'm going to keep it brief this week. I'm just going to re-up that book I mentioned last week because I'd still really love to do book club with you all. Even if we don't meet formally, I'd still love to be reading it at the same time with a bunch of people that I really like. And I just looked at the link and the book is still on sale. So I'm going to drop the link again in case you missed it last time. So go pick up this book. And if you are not able, if that's not in your budget right now, that's totally cool. One of our awesome Void Jumpers audience members has made a digital copy available for free. So if you are in that position, please just reach out to me on Twitter or on Discord and we can shoot that over to you because I would love for as many people to read this book as possible. And now I'm going to turn it over to Lisa so she can talk to you about something awesome that's going on this week. This month.
Yes, this month. So May is Lupus Awareness Month, and I have teamed up with a bunch of other cool streamers to fundraise for the Lupus Foundation of America this weekend. And I talked with my buddies here, and we're going to donate all of the proceeds we make tonight, all of the donations for perks, to the Lupus Foundation of America under the Void Jumpers name. So just thought I would let you guys know that. I don't personally have lupus. I have Lyme disease, but it's kind of a sister chronic illness, and I have a lot of people that I've met through that journey that do have lupus. So I'm really happy to help fundraise for them for research and treatment and all that kind of stuff. That's it.
Lisa, would you be willing to take just a minute or two? I'm embarrassed to say, I'm glad to say it is Lupus Awareness Month, and I'm embarrassed to say I don't know a ton about lupus. Would you be cool giving us just a little 101?
Yeah, I mean, lupus is an autoimmune disease. I actually have been tested for it a couple times because I thought I had it multiple times throughout my life, but it's always been negative. It's an autoimmune disease. A lot of times it'll attack your kidneys. If you follow Selena Gomez, she's got lupus and she had to have a kidney transplant. So that's kind of one of the more famous people that's had lupus. Yeah, so it's just a really pretty nasty autoimmune disease that they don't know a whole lot about what triggers it, I don't believe. So they want more research. There is some lupus drugs. It made the news because, what was it? Hydroxychloroquine is a lupus drug, and they were worried when that got pushed by the Trump administration as a COVID treatment that it was going to cause a shortage for people with lupus that need that drug. It did. Yep. So yeah, you can do some research. It's a really great organization. If you want to see more, there's going to be a ton of streamers Friday, Saturday, Sunday, all across Twitch, fundraising for, it's called Game On to End Lupus. I even got a t-shirt, so I'll be doing that on Saturday.
Okay,
Cool.
thanks.
Thank you, Lisa.
Should we lose Jesse?
What?
I think that
You didn't lose shit.
It just got really quiet, and I thought Jesse was going to talk.
Let's play Void Jumpers, okay?
Don't yell at us, man.
Sam, when they finally pull the hood off you, you're blinded.
To recap.
No. Not for you, not for nobody. Well, I will, but I'm going to do it later. Sam, when they finally pull the hood off of you, you're blinded by bright white light. It's been a long journey, most of it in the dark of this hood. Last thing you remember, you were on Void. How'd they pick you up?
Phone booth. I stepped in to make a telecall, and when I went in, somebody came in right behind me, and we had this like brief altercation where I was just confused for a second. They just zapped me, and I was out.
Okay. It's been in and out since then. You know that you've been on transports. You're not sure how far you've gone. They've been pretty quiet about where it is you're headed, but you're sure it's the company. They've been tailing you for a little while. But now, when you regain your sight, you find yourself in a laboratory. Through several large viewing stations, you see this lab is underwater. Deep underwater. A tall, slender man stands before you, his bald head glistening in fluorescence. Hello! Welcome to my secret laboratory, Samuel. I am Air Dobbins, a very important scientist. And now I'm going to perform some experiments on you.
I don't suppose I need to sign a waiver or anything like that for you to have permission to do this. Am I bound?
Yeah, I think that you're locked into like a dentist's chair kind of situation, but it is obviously not a dentist's chair.
Okay, in between little quips, I would like to make strength checks to try to break free.
Yeah, let's get a baseline right now. Roll it.
I'm gonna have to check. That's a 9.
Okay. All right, let's roll forward just a little bit. When you say, is there any waiver forms, he actually has a clipboard in his hand, and he scrolls through some of the electronic paperwork, and he says, interesting. It says here you've already signed a waiver, and you volunteered for this procedure. Why did you volunteer for this procedure?
Oh, I absolutely did not.
Ah, yes,
Yeah.
this makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, so I guess this isn't like a negotiation type situation, and I'm guessing your intentions are actually quite nefarious.
I'm a scientist, and in my own personal opinion, an altruist. I simply mean to heighten our existence, to ascend from this magically inert position of ours to something greater.
I appreciate your enthusiasm for science, and I feel like right now the sheer terror that I fear that I may die is being deflected with my attempts at humor, but when really all I want to do is get free and do physical damage to you.
That's fair. With the 9 that you rolled, you can tell that this is a very sturdy contraption that you were locked into. In fact, it doesn't seem to be designed to hold humans. It seems to be designed to hold things that are stronger than humans.
Okay, I'm going to just getting a sense here that if they've put me in a secret lab, that I'm restrained and have bothered to do paperwork to do stuff to me, that anything that I could try right now isn't going to result in a worse outcome. So I would like to try to break my own hand to pull it out of the cuff. Just assuming that I'm going to die, so I'm going to try to just go ahead and do the old thumb break.
Interesting. Okay, yeah, for sure. There's a move. I don't think any of you guys have it, but I will let you use
break
it.
your own hand?
It's it's one of those things. This is one of the things that Monster of the Week is great with, because they just kind of leave a lot of open space. I have it right here. So the thing is, it's a variation on use magic. So when you have characters who do not use magic, they have in some of the Tome of Secrets, they allow you to.
Wait, are you even
change
allowed
some
to show us the
stuff.
cover of that?
Because it's a secret?
Yes.
Yes, I am.
We used to have penalties back in the day for like old school D&D that if you got caught looking through the Dungeon Master guide, it was just like experience deductions. Like
That makes sense, especially like checking out the monster section, trying to get
yeah.
AC of some of these beasts.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
the move's called No Limits. Just to give you an idea of what it is, it says, when you push your physical body past its limits, roll plus weird. There's some stipulations here, but I feel like this fits. So just
Okay.
roll plus weird.
Is it sort of like the idea that it's whether or not I have the willpower to break my own
Yeah,
limbs?
it's like your child is trapped under a bus, and we're looking to see like if you can just lift the bus.
Okay. No, sir. No, I do not. That is an 8. If I was using my current stats, the answer would be yes, but
Okay, yeah.
Oh,
So
yeah.
it says you do it, but choose one
Oh.
consequence. So what I'm gonna do, you suffer 1 harm as well.
yeah. No,
I think
100%. 100%.
The consequence in this is that you just break your hand, but you're unable to get it out. And he actually like freaks out, and he's like, "No! What are you doing?" And he reaches over to a side table and pulls like an injector gun and jabs your wrist with it, and the pain ceases immediately. And he then pulls a couple different pieces out to just set the bone very quickly. There's just some strange tables nearby where there's a lot of material to do these types of things, which is ominous in its own right. But he says, please, look, allow me to try and waylay your fears, okay? Obviously, I'm going to do the experiments on you, okay? Yes. Do people die sometimes? Of course they do. This is weird science, you know? Things happen, but when don't they? Do people drive cars? Of course they do. Do the cars crash? Occasionally. This is the world that we live in. Nothing is safe.
What is the headrest made out of? What am I on?
You're like padded on the back, but it's the same kind of like metal bar around your forehead.
Oh, there's a metal bar around my forehead.
I think that it's like forehead, throat, torso, wrists, legs.
All right, I'm gonna try to break my other hand.
Okay, roll no limits. Plus weird.
This is
no.
just try to rip this sucker right.
Good, man.
6.
Let me just double check. You're gross, dude. Yeah, okay. So you just break your other hand again. It says on a miss, something goes horribly wrong. I don't think that there's any need to like make it worse than that. You break your hand and you're unable to get it out. I think that's horrible enough. He's like, good God, man! You're freaking crazy! And he like hits you again and does this. He's like, okay, we're gonna try something completely different because you're freaking crazy, okay? And he steps back and he hits a button and you can see a void field kind of just spring to life in this perimeter around your chair. And once this, it's floor to ceiling, no creases here. Once this is completely there, he hits another button and all of the clamps release on the chair. He's like, dude, seriously? You're going to injure yourself. What are you doing, man?
I'm trying to get away.
Yes, that's fair, but think about this, okay? You aren't. Even if you got out of the chair and dismembered me, cut my head from my body and drank the blood, which is the kind of shit I'm starting to think you might be into. Even if you manage this, look at these windows. We're deep underwater. They can shut off the lifts to this place from a control booth up top. I don't even need to hit an alarm. This place does some scary shit, okay? Angry guy brought here against will? Least of our worries. We're talking about crack the crust of the planet type of experiments, man. We can lock that shit down. There's nothing that you could do to escape this place. So at least try to relax, okay? Just have a drink. He pushes a button and a little slot in the force field, a little mechanical arm produces like a coconut with a little umbrella in it. It's like, sip, man. Just try to relax, okay?
I swear to you, if it's the last thing I do, the last face you will ever see is going to be mine.
You know how many times I've heard that before, and it's never, ever come true. Obviously, we have a great cutaway there. Air Dobbins floating away into space as Sam watches him through a porthole. Cut back. He says, okay, look. Let's just try this, okay? It is not my intention to harm you or to kill you. That is sometimes what happens as I described. But hey, you know, let me ask you. We're going to talk about some magic. Isn't that exciting? Magic is exciting. Huh?
Okay, I don't know why you're trying to appeal to my sense of curiosity or approval for you kidnapping me and clearly having some sort of sadistic interest in subjecting me to these tests that if they were great, I would have volunteered for, I'm sure, which makes me think that they are not great. I think if they were super duper, you would have been the first in line. That is also not the case. So please, please forgive me if I never, ever consent or give in to your insanity. In fact, I just pushed the drink right over, like just right out. I promise you, if I figure out a way to kill myself before you can do this, I will. And I start looking around for anything, and then I just run full speed right into the void wall, just like full speed.
Okay. You wake up. You are still in the force field, but it's obvious that several hours have passed. You have been put into like a football uniform, but instead of like zippers and clips, it's like all locked. You're just in this like protective gear. And he's like, okay, man. Obviously, you've gotten off on the wrong foot. Let me ask you a question. Is there any element in this system that you feel particularly drawn to, or that you dream of regularly?
I'm trying to figure out. It's like a strange image of you bending over and sticking your own head up your own ass.
Fiery. Let's start with that. He goes over to a control panel and types in some things, and you can see the way that I see it is that this pod that you're in is up against the back wall. So the force field is like 3/4, and then there's a metal wall behind you where the little drink came out and such. A panel flips over, and you can actually see behind it there's like an empty glass pod where something might... it's the size to fit a human, but it's empty. And as Air Dobbins types on this machine, it starts to slot through like the chambers of like a revolver or something, and it clicks through very quickly, and you just see some colors, but then it ends on what is a humanoid figure wreathed in flames.
Oh, that's not good. That's not good.
Oh, to be clear, it's not like a person on fire.
Right. No, yeah. But I can't imagine that this is going to be good for me. Sam has like just a flash of like, you should have taken that drink, Sammy. Like you should have just.
And he hits a button and says through the intercom, "Now, this is just a sample to see how you feel." And then you can hear that there's a connection that opens between the glass pod and you, an audio connection. And Lisa, if you wouldn't mind being a Tyne.
A Tyne? Okay.
Mm-hmm. In your experience in this place, you've been showed several different human beings and given this sampling of their personality to see if you line up. A magical energy forms, and you immediately feel drawn to, not like the person, but like getting to know them, like a curiosity more than anything else. And if you would just ask Sam a couple questions here, from what you know about the time.
All right. What is your favorite building material?
Do I know where this question is coming from?
Yeah, it's obvious that this entity is speaking to you.
Okay, I'm like, it looks like talking fire, basically.
Yeah.
Or
it's a fire elemental.
Okay. What are you?
Tricky, he doesn't answer my questions.
I'm sorry. I've just never talked to fire before, and are you with him? I gestured to Air Dobbins.
No, I've been called here to be paired.
To be paired.
Mm-hmm.
You were called here, so you came here. Did you come here willingly, or are you?
I go where the call is, but you haven't answered my question. What kind of building material do you prefer?
Okay, all right. I'm gonna go with sourdough. You know, it's the only way to get a club sandwich stacked just right. Other breads that get real soggy, and it seems like you're going along with this guy. Means we're not on the same team.
All right, that's enough. And he pushes a button and it like tick, 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 tick. Now, obviously, we've been doing this for a while, and I can tell when the chemistry hits. It's usually immediately. It doesn't always mean it'll be smooth sailing, but the connection is there. I just watched for a little longer because you make me very curious, you crazy person.
I think you really got this issue with projection, man. Because I'm not crazy. I'd be crazy if I was going along with this horse hockey, all right? The thing that would make me not crazy is if you dropped this little void shield, let me come out here, we do the man dance. I host a picnic for you, and you have a banquet of knuckle sandwiches, and then I put you out into the ocean water so you can get a nice brine, and mermen can come up and take little nibbles out of your drowning little body. That's what I would like to do. That would prove my sanity to me. So why don't we try that theory? Why don't we test my theory? We did one of yours. Let's do one of mine. Open it up. See if we pair.
Next! He hits the button again, and the chamber goes... tuk, 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 tuk. When it passes through this time, there's a sickly green light coming out of it, and we can see that there's a skeleton inside with like the pigpen stink waves coming off, but they're blight magic. Connor, if you wouldn't mind being our skeleton here.
Obviously, Connor's stink ray.
Oh.
Hey, what's up, man? Like, what's your thing?
Escaping's my thing. I'm talking to a skeleton in an undersea laboratory. You want to help me escape? That's how I'd know we paired.
Oh shit, we're underwater? Huh. That's crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy.
What's your thing, man?
My thing is getting out of here. That's my thing. That's my whole thing.
Cool.
Yeah. What's your thing?
Yeah, I guess like a lot of people have been pressuring me to have a thing for a while. You know, they're always like, "Hey, Tad, why don't you like get some direction in your life?" And I'm like, "Chill, get off my back." Anyway, so I heard this call and I was like, "What's up?" And I came down here and anyway.
I don't understand why you guys all got invites. You got open invites and they dragged me in here. I look at Air Dobbins. Why? Why me? Like, you could have taken anybody. Why?
He hits the button, and the skeleton cycles out. Now, first of all, I just want to say, I've told that skeleton several times that we're underwater. He knows that. He's unmotivated. He remembers nothing that we've told him. And yes, I've been pressuring him to get a thing, but seriously, he's thousands of years old. You think he could be passionate about one thing? Secondly, why you? Well, I've been beating around the bush a little bit. I wanted to just try some things, but it seems that nothing is working. Well, we scanned you, Sam, several times. I've done it myself. The company did it at HQ. They have much better equipment for this sort of thing, but we've been able to verify it. Especially when you are in the darkness of space, your body exhibits very peculiar symptoms. It seems there's actually a trace amount of void present in your DNA, as though it might even be dormant summoner genes. You might be part of a family that was several times removed from the summoner line of the Void planet. Pretty strange, right? Not entirely impossible, but very uncommon. Anyway, I've been looking for someone like you, and when you were causing whatever trouble you were causing, it was just as easy to make you disappear and end up here. I suppose. I'm extrapolating, of course. I just know how the company works. I haven't read your file. But I assume it's something like that.
Oh, man. It's funny. It's funny stuff. It's a funny guy. It's a funny guy. Just want you to know, still, just in case, since it seems like you're trying to help Tad get a thing, you know, he's thousands of years old, you've told him things that he can't remember. You also seem to not be able to remember that there is nothing that I am ever going to do to help you. There's nothing that you're going to spin around in this revolving door of crazy hallucinations that I'm going to vibe with. We're not going to have a thing and like it's not going to be love at first sight. In fact, I can guarantee you I will despise whatever you show me with all the fiber of my being.
Okay. Well, let's just roll the dice one more time, shall we? When he pushes the button this time, the chambers spin around, and then there's a bright purple light, and again, you find yourself waking up. You are in a different chamber. The door is an open archway, but that is completely covered by a force field. And you are in the top bunk of what looks to be a little brig cell. Outside, you can see that there is that laboratory that you were in, but you've been moved to a different section of it. Air Dobbins is not nearby. What would you like to do, Sam?
I'm going to check to see if I've got all my organs. That just seems like the first thing to do. Be like, do I feel like any stitches or anything like that?
No, you actually feel tip-top. You feel like you actually got some rest, which hasn't happened much, any good rest since you've been moved from wherever you were to here.
Hands?
Regular. Everything that happened, so you did break them.
Okay.
There looks like there's a little bit of surgical scarring, but they've been put back together in a way that makes them a little sore in the wrist, but otherwise usable.
Okay. I guess I will get down out of this bunk bed.
Okay. There is somebody else in the room with you. A very large, purple, crystally form lounging in the bunk underneath.
Okay. Oh, hey, you're awake. That's a good sign. Okay, Sam goes to the door, completely ignores the big purple dude, and looks around for Air Dobbins or like a door like, all right, you guys need to let me out of here.
Air Dobbins is like drinking coffee over by one of the workstations, and he just looks over to you and goes, "Good job! Great work! Seriously! Good job!" And he turns back and starts working.
I look around the room. Is there anything to be used? Is there anything I could use in the room, like a tool or?
The room is sterile. There's only the bunks. They've been mounted onto the wall.
All right. Look, you try to ask me what my thing is, or ask me any questions about my favorite building materials, or try to give me a drink. Just know that we're not friends, okay? I don't know why you volunteered for this, why you received a call, but just stay away from me. Okay, just lounging, just here chilling. Didn't know we were in a quarrel. Okay, I don't know what's up with your attitude, but you need to rein it in, all right? Before you and I have a serious problem. Oh, we do have a serious problem. We're in the bottom of the ocean and likely going to perish. Far from home. Okay, I don't know why you're laughing. And I don't like you. So just lock it up, okay? Okay. These pillows aren't bed, though. Yeah, is there any way for Sam to escape? Is there...
When you turn back around to look out the force field, Air Dobbins is actually leaning against the wall, deliberately trying to look nonchalant and cool. And only kind of succeeding. And he's holding his little coffee cup, and he says, "So, how's it going?" The intercom is on. I can see the green button right next to me.
I get like a little bit closer to. Is it a force field? Is it a wall? It's
a full force field. It's just a big open thing, so you guys can see each other's entire bodies.
Yeah, just get a little closer, like.
He types something in, and a little slot appears above you, like the force field, opens up, and he goes, "You're not fooling anyone. I can see that the intercom is on. I'm only doing this to humor you."
How big is the slot?
Mail slot.
All right. Well, I got nothing else. I'm gonna try to jump up and grab it.
Okay. Yeah. The second that you leap into the air, we go into slow motion, and he says, "I wouldn't do that if I were you." And as you grab the void force field, you are immediately transformed into Puck. And when you land back on the ground and look at the bunk bed, there's nobody there. There's not even sheets or pillows on it. There has been nobody in this cell but you the entire time.
Oh, that's different. I stand up, look around, walk over to the edge of the cell. Oh, it's like me. And I punch the void wall.
Yeah, I think that your hand goes straight through it and hits Air Dobbins in the chest. Roll, kick some ass.
8.
Yeah, you hit him, and he just flies backwards through the air and crashes into the espresso machine that he was standing in front of when this all started, and he was just saying good job to you. And then, several different scientists turn around, and they hit different buttons, and the force field that's just been made of void gets several different overlays of different elements. There's like the void, and then you can see lightning crisscross it, then fire, and then like a sheet of water. It's not the actual tangible elements. It's like these. They look like popsicle flavored force fields, of each of them, but they just cross over.
Sorry, it was unintentional. I was just trying to. Oh, he dropped his espresso. Okay.
I didn't just drop it. I spilled it all over this coat. I've told you before, we're deep underwater. You think we just have like 17 coats per person? It's a small base. I've got 2 other coats. This is not going to come out. You seem cheerful. You seem so cheerful, and you make everyone here like you. You strike me, and you ruin my coat.
I already apologized.
He goes over and he smashes a button on the wall, and these 2 little like vacuum tubes poke out, and you just hear this huge engine kick on, and all of the void energy is ripped off of you, and Sam is standing there again. And he says, "Listen, both of you, I'm going to leave, okay? I need to go change my coat. It's also pretty close to lunch. It's like 11:30. I don't see any reason why I'd come back after that. And then we're just going to be doing some stuff in the upper labs. In fact, it's probably going to be several days before we get back around to whatever the next phase of this experiment is. We haven't yet understand it. So I'm just going to leave the 2 of you here in the cell all by yourselves so that you may get better acquainted. Ta-ta!" And he leaves. And as you turn around, Sam, you can see Puck sitting there on the bunk bed looking at you.
If somebody were to look in, they would probably see Sam just pacing back and forth, shaking his head, being like, not talking to you. I don't care how long we're down here. It's not happening. I'm not talking to you. I got nothing to say. All right? So you just stay on your side of the room. I'll stay on my side. Okay? I don't know what's going on. Just need a second to get my head together. And we're getting out of here. I'm getting out of here. I don't know. I don't care what you do. You came here on your own. You got the call. Me, I'm out of here. Going back. I got things to do. Got things to do.
And as Sam paces, days turn into weeks, and weeks turn into months, and the camera pans out to show both of them trapped in the cell together. And then we see one last look of the Lost Shore Research Laboratory in a wide, sitting amidst the endless oceans of the water planet. And then we black out. That story time was from Merc. We're pretty sure. I think I meant Buster.
We still don't know what is audible during bumpers. It's our greatest weakness, not knowing if we're live during bumpers.
I heard all of that. All right, cool. Thank you very much. Thank you, Merc, for that story time.
That was tremendous. Yeah,
Was
thank you
great.
so much.
I had a elemental in line for you, Trin, but Sam knows what he wants and he goes after it. Okay.
Well, rule
So
of
here's-
threes too. You know, you got two wrong ones and then you get the right one. That's how it goes.
It was a bloom elemental.
Well,
Okay,
maybe,
anyways.
maybe they'll show up some other time then.
Last week, we saw the story of Bryn's coronation, and Herbert Pervert played a song. We did a little catching up on our ship, Haven. Tag had a premonition of being lost in the dark, seeing familiar faces that transformed into skulls. We learned Gilvia Korgold has been researching the earliest summoner councils, and that she's a fan of the Eros touch. Bryn shared a moment with Half-Dad, much to Tag's dismay.
Oh, yeah.
Rex shared a moment
yeah.
with Tara. We then landed on Silva Celesso, where the party met the new master of the Parallel Order, Steve Irwin, who invited them to a welcoming feast. When last we saw, you'd all piled into the room and had a moment. Tag had a moment outside with Half-Dad where they kind of hashed some stuff out, and Half-Dad said, I can't come inside the monastery. But once you got in there, you saw everybody who had come into the room. I'll refresh your memory now. We have Steve Irwin, who's sitting at the head of the table. And then in walked Bryn's mother, Amelia Cossaint, followed by Gwenig, who seems to be performing some kind of administrational, whatever the fuck it's called, duties, secretarial duties. We then saw the Void Summoner, Gorvin Dietrich, and his parallel, Exception Vold. Sylvia Korgold was one of the last people in this group to sit, and she actually flagged Bryn down right before we ended last time and said, Summoner, I've saved you a seat right here next to me, in between her and your mother, Bryn. Everybody else, you're going to be sitting down to this feast. It's actually quite the feast. There's several courses, lots of drinks. You're joined by some of the teachers and instructors from the monastery, and the staff moves about behind you almost unseen. They're very practiced in their duties. But all of you sit down at this table, and you're going to have just a moment or several moments to get acquainted with the people here at this welcoming feast. I figured that the table is large enough to accommodate everybody, but small enough that you can easily steal moments with just about anyone. I got a few ideas, but is there anybody in particular that any of you want to have a moment with? And I got the full list of the, and there's a lot of NPCs here, and I'm going to do my best to not really have them talking to each other. So if you guys want to get any information or talk to anybody or get to know somebody, they are at your disposal.
Do you want to reveal them as we inquire, or do you want to give us a rundown of those NPCs?
You got Steve Irwin, Amelia Cossaint.
Oh, it's the people you just mentioned. It's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
more people. I gotcha.
But there is, for you, Tag, there are teachers here and instructors and staff. So if there's anybody that you have from your memory that you would like to speak to or inquire about or just create in the moment, the monastery is going to be kind of fluid as far as you choose to remember it. We don't have a floor plan, so there will be several moments later this session where I say, like, Tag, will you please fill in some of these blanks? So the staff, teachers, etc. are kind of at your disposal. Anybody's heart calling for a certain NPC chat?
This is not a call for a chat, but you see that Rex is only eating vegetables, and she picks up a big floret of broccoli, and she's kind of gnawing on it like it's a turkey leg, and she just goes, "Oh, hey, Summoner Kosei." And she's like, "I'm doing vegetables because we got poisoned at your thing."
She
I
waves
said that
you.
more quietly, but it's nice to see you.
It's great to see you too, Rex. She holds up a giant turkey leg and she's like, I hope this isn't poison, and then starts eating it.
I mean, I'm sandwiched between Gilvia, my mother, and Gwenig.
Mm-hmm.
There's a whole lot of awkward going on right now.
I do feel like it's not an easy, like the trouble we're having finding which conversation should happen, I think are also happening in fiction. It's not an easy feast that is happening, except for Steve Irwin, who seems to be in great spirits, and he's just knocking back the wine. But yeah, did you want to speak to one of those people, Bryn?
Would like some wine first, and yes.
Your mother actually pours you a glass, and then Gwenig, and then Gilvia.
Mother, is there going to be a time when I can speak to you in private?
She puts a hand on your shoulder and she says, "Oh, yes, Bryn. I would like that very much."
Yeah, there's so much to catch up on. So much.
Yes. I do feel like some of the more personal things we were discussing earlier, the girl talk, will have to wait until we are in private. But yes, there's so much to catch up on.
And then I look past my mother, kind of eyeing Gwenig and trying to be sneaky about it.
When you lead past, Gwenig's just sitting there holding her wine, looking right at you.
And I slowly blink back. Mother, have you met... I don't really know how to introduce you, Gilvia.
Oh, I am Gilvia Corgold. I am a representative of the company who's come to lend a hand during this difficult time for the Summoner Council. And I've many questions, and I cannot wait to learn more. Your mother takes her hand and shakes it, and the moment their skin connects, Bryn, her hand still kind of on your shoulder, you feel her grip tighten. And there's just like a moment where she has a reaction. You can't quite decipher what it is, but it is. She is doing her best to keep a lid on it, but because her hand is on you, you definitely feel a squeeze.
Perhaps our talk could come sooner rather than later, Mother.
Oh, Bryn, we don't want to be rude. There's just so many interesting faces here with so much to say. I think it would be good for you to try and get to know some of these people.
Good idea, and I get up.
Okay. You see that Gilvia slides over. It's like a bench. I want it to be like a long, big, like family bench table kind of thing. And Gilvia just slides over to take your place. And you can see that she starts talking to your mother. She cuts right through the pleasantries, and what you hear her start asking about, or you basically just hear her say, I am so excited to be in this monastery. The literature contained in these libraries alone predates almost everything in the company's archives, and I cannot wait to get my hand on some of these tomes. And you can just start to hear her talk about really just early summoner lore. And your mother knows a lot about that. And so she has a conversation with Gilvia as you leave. Where do you go?
To the moon cheese.
Okay. Yeah, there's like, I think that there's a serving table, but it is arranged kind of like a buffet. And so you're able to just go over there and find the moon cheese. What does it look like?
It's kind of like, it's got kind of it looks like it would be Swiss, but it's not thin. It's like thick, and the crevices have a little bit of a silvery glow to it,
Oh,
and it's
cool.
kind of crumbly.
Cool.
Okay, cool.
Yes, kind of like a mix between like cheese curds and Swiss.
Okay. Yeah, there's quite the spread here. Is there anybody you're hoping to run into at the moon cheese?
Yes. Did you say Summoner Dietrich is here?
Yes.
Would definitely like to run into them.
Sure. He strolls over actually to eyeball some of the bottles of wine that have been set in back in preparation, and you just hear him go, "Oh, I can see that they didn't go to much trouble." He says this under his breath to you.
Right? I mean, you think it would be a
Tag
little
is
bit
probably
more
more used to serving at these events than attending them, especially at the monastery, so he's probably twitching with trying to repress the urge of helping. #hack attack.
Oh my gosh, that is exactly what I was thinking.
What is happening? It's a hack attack? Is it?
It's $5.
towards it?
It's towards a hack attack. Yeah, from Merc.
Got it.
Thanks,
Cool.
Merc.
Tag is probably more used to serving at these events than attending them, especially at the monastery, so he's probably twitching with trying to repress the urge of helping. #hack attack.
You read my
Okay.
mind.
Okay. We'll jump
What
to
happens when it's a hack attack?
hack attack means they get to do whatever they want, but I think we're just moving towards one. We'll do tag next then. So prepare yourself, Tag, for whatever it is you're about
Tag is
to do to
probably
exercise
more
these
used
demons.
to serving
What?
at these events
What
than
in
attending
the
them,
fuck?
especially at the monastery, so he's probably twitching with trying to repress the urge of helping. #hack attack.
We get it, bot. We get it.
What do you want to say to the summoner?
I'm gonna say, right? You think they would have made
Tag
a
is
little bit?
probably more used to serving at these
you have to
events than
save us.
attending them, especially at the
How
monastery,
can we
so
stop
he's
this?
probably twitching with trying to repress the urge of helping.
Okay, thank you.
Hash. You really think they would have gone all out, seeing as how all of the summoners are going to be here?
Yes. Well, this is unfortunately. Have you have you not talked to your mother?
Oh, you know who I am. I was going to introduce myself.
I apologize, Summoner Cosaint. It is nice to finally meet you. Your mother speaks about you constantly, and everything that she says is nothing but incredible. I am Summoner Gorvain Dietrich. I believe you've had some run-ins with my child, Ira.
Yes, Ira is an incredible, interesting person. I would very much like to apologize for what happened to your manor.
What happened to the manor?
Oh, We redecorated it.
Oh, yes. Ira does love to move things around when I'm out of town, but I imagine that it won't be too drastic of a change.
Do you want some cheese?
I'd love some. He plucks a little piece out and starts to eat it. You could see that he looks over your shoulder for just a moment and gives a small shake of the head. And when you turn, you can see his parallel starting to stand up, and at the summoner's shake, they sit back down. He says, yes, you would think that they would go all out. Actually, he says, have you tried some of the... And he starts to walk down the table away from Steve Irwin's side and leads you just a little bit farther away. He says, have you tried some of these? And he points to like a plate full of buns. He's like, I don't even know what this is. It's nothing. It's bread. Did you see these bottles of wine? He's pointing around and he says, it's obvious that our host doesn't have much experience welcoming summoners. Wouldn't you agree?
Well, I haven't really. Most of my experience off planet, people have been trying to kill me, so this is kind of nice.
This elicits a look out of him, and he kind of like waits to see if you're going to elaborate.
Well, how do they do it on Void?
The way that we do it on Void is that we pull out all the stops. Hosting summoners, especially the council, is a moment of great importance. It is a monumental occasion. There have not been all that many summoner councils. In fact, during my time serving as a summoner of the Void Planet, I've only attended 4 or 5. Now, the last time I was here, the entire monastery was bedecked with the colors of the entire system. There were an entire wing reserved just for our convenience and our staff, and the feasts that we experienced nightly put this one to shame. It just seems very different.
Mm-hmm.
This is, of course, the first time I've met Steve Irwin. He has not been the master of the parallel for long, but it's as though he holds up that bun again, and he says, truly, this is nothing. I think it's a breakfast item that you would put a slice of egg and sausage between. I don't know why this is here. It seems to me that the articles on the table were put there by people who didn't know where to find the better stuff, who might have been unfamiliar with the pantry. It's... I don't want to sound too... Well, it's pathetic.
Oh, I totally agree. Do you have any way... I need to get my mother alone to get her some important information, and she's flanked on one side by my ex-girlfriend, and on the other side is the company's, don't tell anybody, the company made a summoner. So I need to get all of this information to my mother, and I cannot seem to pull her away. Do you have any tips? Can you create a distraction?
I suppose that I can.
Let's shake this buffet up. #ground control.
Oh my gosh, is this the fucking 0G thing?
Is that
Wow.
Oh God, that's a distraction.
Is that what that is?
I think so. It's from Thing. Thank you, Thing.
Thanks, Thing.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Thing.
I think
Hunter,
is that what we named it? Ground control,
so.
or is that a buff to Jesse? No, because the buff to you would be mission control.
Yeah, I think that's gravity turns off.
Yep.
Okay. So, Toman, I think, is to answer your question, Connor, but I don't know for sure. Yeah, okay, so as you are talking to Gorvain, and asking for him to make a distraction, the bun in his hand, which is like a, hamburger bun, the top
Oh.
starts to float off. And he says, "What the hell?" And then everybody in the room, you start to lift up out of your chairs. And then the furniture too, and the plates off of the table, everything just starts to lift up out off the floor. And you can see that you've lost gravity. And it seems to be isolated to this chamber because outside in the hallway, the chairs are just there. And Steve Irwin says, "Crikey! Not again!"
I look at Summoner Dietrich and I'm like, nice distraction. That's an amazing power.
Not me. Not me. Definitely not me. And now he's kind of swimming away from you. What does everybody want to do once they start floating?
I grab a grape and I say, "Hey, Rex." And I just launch the grape, the zero gravity grape, across to Rex.
She catches it in her mouth expertly, as though she were born to do that.
And then I see one of those rolls floating by. And so I grab that and kind of air push it in his direction like it's a hockey puck.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and try to do a full 360. Standing upright. So as I come around, I time it. Ha! I can growl a bun. I think Sam is just assuming that this is part of like summoner dinner. It's like, oh yeah, it's the part where all the wizards make us float around. I'm like, yeah, great. That just seems like the alarm bells aren't going off. It's just like, oh, this is like normal. Oh, soup's on, so now we're all 0G.
Amelia, who is now kind of floating, trying to grab the tablecloth to brace herself, heard Steve Irwin say "not again," and you can see that she's now trying to like pull her way towards him, and she's like yelling questions at him about why this is happening, what's going on, and demanding that he stop it. And the staff is now trying to like, they're floating by with the plates, trying to like scoop noodles back onto them as they're floating past you. There's just like a lot of food in the air and people are trying to get it. Sam's eating it. Rex is throwing it back and forth with him. And then you see Amelia take her staff and just like hit it into the wall. And then there's an explosion, very contained around the impact site. And you feel, all of you in tune with magic, magic kind of ripple through the room, but nothing really changes. And you are all still. And Steve Irwin's like, all right, everyone, this has been happening recently. I'm having such fucking trouble doing dialects today.
Air Dobbins was on.
Yeah.
Let me. I think Tag is just sort of like holding onto the arms of the chair as he floats upward with it, and he's not in emergency mode. He sees that Rex and Sam are having fun. He's able to smile at it, but there is something eerie. I don't know if anyone has ever like gone back to their childhood home many years later, and things happen that just aren't right, and it kind of gives you like a little bit of a queasy feeling in your stomach, and you can't quite put your finger on it because intellectually you're like, yeah, places change. I don't have ownership over this place. You know, it's going to evolve and morph in ways that I can't control. But there is something unsettling and even slightly disturbing about seeing a home exhibit unrecognizable characteristics in a way that makes you feel like, gosh, this is no longer the place that I knew. So I'm going to roll to investigate.
Sure.
Is that it feels like I can roll smarts for investigate a mystery, but it feels like what Tag is doing is trying to tune in.
I'd let you do roll weird. I think what I'd do then is it doesn't matter to me. Whichever skill you choose, we would be filtering your information through. So if you're trying to like reach out magically, we'll be kind of dealing with it like that. If you're just trying to look at the people regularly, we'd be dealing it with like that.
Yeah, I think it's more about trying to just kind of like let his gaze go soft. It's not entering the phase state to like see the monster as much as it is kind of just tuning into those magical elements that are happening.
Sure, roll it.
12.
All right, ask 3 questions.
What's happening here?
You get the sense that this is an isolated incident. It reminds you of the strangeness that was happening on the Blight planet, where like chaotic elements were just kind of happening. Although this seems to be an element that you're not familiar with. It's not that like raw chaos. It looks like a bubble of escaped magic that everybody just got caught in.
Where did it come from?
I would say you don't have a great idea, but it would be from deeper within the monastery. It seems to have come from a local place, nearby.
Okay. And what is being concealed here? I can modify if that's. I guess
Yeah.
the way that I would color that to the specific instance is, is there, is this a symptom? Is the loss of gravity its own? That's it. That's all it is, or is that an effect, a symptom of some greater magical effect or greater?
Yeah, it looks like it does look like a symptom. To kind of piggyback on the answer to your first question, it looks like this bubble might have been a release valve opening and kind of letting it out, maybe to stabilize something else. And now you guys are getting caught in whatever the unstable element is that it was kind of blowing off steam with.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And it also looks like that all of the staff, all of the teachers, and Steve Irwin, while they are not pleased, they do not seem surprised. There's a moment in which Steve Irwin just tries to like swim through to the area outside the door where you can clearly see the chairs and shit in the hall on the ground. Is there anything else you guys want to do in the low gravity portion of this? Bren, do you want to use this as your distraction? Okay.
Yeah, I would like to launch myself, hopefully, at my mother to like grab her and swish her off to a corner.
Yeah, she actually moved over to the wall, and now Steve Irwin has moved to the other side when she jammed her staff into the wall to try and do whatever she was doing. So
Where's
she's
Gwennig?
kind of isolated.
Okay,
Gwennig's
so not with her.
floating around trying to collect papers that she had let go.
Okay, then yes, I'd like to make my way over to my mother.
Okay, you have successfully done so. She kind of grabs you out of the air and pulls you over to the wall.
Is this normal on this moon?
I don't know what's going on this moon. We've seen some strange things. This is by far the strangest magical event that's happened. We've not seen a loss of gravity like this.
Okay, well, I don't have a lot of time. I just have to let you know. I don't know if you know much about Gilvia, but she's not a real summoner, Mom. She was made by the company, and you can't see her in the phase state. I'm pretty sure Tag told us that. You can't see her in the phase state, and apparently she died during the trials. So I don't really know what's going on, but she's not to be trusted.
That's freaky.
I know. I'm sorry to do these info bombs on you, but I gotta get you all this information. I don't know what's going on. I don't trust her. I don't trust the company. Also, what the heck is Gwennig doing working for you?
Oh, I needed an assistant, and Gwennig was trying to get sent off planet. She simply knows too much about this family, and the company would exploit that in a second. They already were. So instead of letting her get tossed out to their nets and lost and tangled up into all that whole thing again, I just denied that transfer that your executive friend tried to put through, and I just made Gwennig my personal assistant. She's doing well.
Was she happy about that, or was she unhappy about that?
I think she was very unhappy at first, but since we've been off planet, she's been more excited about the position at the very least.
Okay. I mean, it's a little awkward for me, but if she's helping you out, then that's great.
I couldn't. She has my whole schedule. I don't know how to use that device she keeps it in. If I lost
actually
Wennig,
like
I would follow.
5 times.
I know, but they every time they update it, I just don't know.
Oh goodness. All right. Okay. Well, I just wanted to get you that information about Gilvia and to watch out for her. I'm gonna try to find out more information if I can.
Yes, if possible, Bryn. I have not been able to make much headway on it, but if anything that you could find out about the Steve Irwin character would be great. He was not who I was expecting to find when we got here, and he doesn't. I would be I find it hard to believe that he was able to call this meeting of the Summoner Council. I do not trust him. There are strange things going on here, Bryn. I told you that, and we don't have time to get into it now, but I do feel that none of us are going to be able to leave now that you're here. I mean, we couldn't leave before you got here, but now you're here too. We need to work together. We're going to need to coordinate on this. I will do what I can to find out about Gilvia. I realized that I couldn't see her in the phase state immediately. Something's up with that.
Yep. Okay. And did I ever tell you about my Parallels half-dad?
I don't think so.
Well, that's a whole nother story. It's going to take a long time, but there's also a half. I don't even know what to call it. It eats worlds, and it's sort of working with us. I don't know. They know what's going on too, so there's another thing in play. But I can give you the down low on that later.
She puts a hand on you, Bryn, because you're starting to float away, and she just stabilizes you. The two of you are just kind of, you realize, upside down, and you didn't even realize it at first. But she says, Bryn, I know about the malice.
Oh, you do?
Yes. And if your friend, Gilvia, is looking into...
My friend.
Sure. She did. She lit up when you walked into the room.
Okay.
If she's looking into the earliest summoner meetings, and anything in particular that would predate the company's archives, she either knows of the malice as well, or is trying to discover it. She's right when she said that the archives here are vast and contain everything we have in regards to history, and all speculation by the scholars close enough to it about prehistory.
Well, how do we
the
keep her away
first
from
Summoner
them?
Council was here.
How do we?
I don't know. Can
we just lock them up? Can we lock the doors?
you will see the library? It would be difficult to. It's huge, Bryn. It's huge.
Well,
There's an entire wing of this monastery that's just full of books. It's incredible.
okay, well then it will take her forever to go through them all, so maybe she just won't get to it.
I will try to throw her off the trail.
Okay. Thanks. Here, have some cheese.
She eats it out of the air. Steve Irwin has made his way through. The last thing she tells you is this, Bryn, I think that there's more for us to discuss, but we shouldn't do so here. Meet me in my quarters later, and we will talk openly.
Okay.
Steve Irwin makes it to the edge of the bubble and kind of like pops out and lands on his feet. You then see him turn his back and then start to what looks like cast some kind of spell. But he's doing it with his back to everybody, so you can't necessarily see what his hands are doing. And when he turns around and touches the bubble, it dissipates and everybody crashes to the ground.
Can I add something to before he cast that
Please.
spell?
Please.
Is this a band, a DJ, or like a computer type music situation for dinner?
I'm going to send that to Tag. You're muted.
There's an old kind of like gramophone type system So it's just sort of like creaky, old-timey music. Very
Okay.
sound.
All right, I'm gonna slide over. I'm gonna float over while all this is going on. I'm gonna peel through the vinyl and look for like some Rachmaninoff. Something that like for the genre is a straight banger.
Uh-huh.
And I'm gonna do the straight record skip where it's like, just like pull it over, take off, put it in the sleeve, slide it away, pull out some Rachmaninoff, put it on just number 4, just side B, just straight 13 minutes of piano, 16th notes, and then I'm going to, once it goes off, I'm going to press off the ground and go up to the ceiling and start a upside down ceiling dance party, because I am not wasting zero gravity and an opportunity to dance on the ceiling. So, yeah, Sam just starts going, just getting his shimmy on the ceiling.
I think Gwennig and the Void Summoner and the Void Parallel all join you. They are not
I
like...
also see Rex join in a little bit because, she's taking Kale's words to heart and trying to have a little bit of fun.
Sure. Yeah, I love it. I didn't want to make the decision for you. Yeah, so we'll say that happens, as Bryn floats over to her mother. I want you guys to have had a decently long dance party. When Steve Irwin clicks it and everybody drops, the record player drops on its feet, bah, and you hear it go, and then the needle opens just a second, and then like right where it left off, like right now, all of the food crashes to the table. It's a huge mess. The buffet overturns. Several people crash into furniture. It looks like somebody breaks their arm, and then they're just scrambling to pick up. Everybody roll dex. I only need to know if you fail.
10.
Oh gee, I think I failed. I'm gonna have to check. Give me a second.
Oh no.
Felt gravity return and did a super cool flip and landed like superhero style.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No. I rolled a 7.
Okay. You land, your foot goes into the bowl of mashed potatoes, but you are otherwise cool. Tag?
Not a fail.
Okay. Then you also land on your feet as the room crashes around you.
You said somebody broke their arm?
Yes.
Okay.
It would be one of the staff.
Okay, for whatever reason, Sam walks over and he tells them to just be calm and breathe. And without thinking about it, he puts both hands on their arm and attempts to heal them.
Roll it.
That is a 12.
Okay.
Fuck yeah.
And yeah.
Cool. This is what happens. Their arm, the bone's it's not a compound fracture by any means, but you can see that their arm is at a slightly strange angle. When you lay your hands on them, you can feel the bone start to knit together and the arm straighten. You feel as though it's returning to its previous state. That is the flavor of the magic that you are casting. You're not just like pouring a red potion on it and it's getting better. It's almost like you're walking it back to a point where it was strongest. But the other thing that you notice is, now that you see it, you recognize it in the face of all of the staff members and all of the teachers. They, because this person's face actually gets a little bit of color back and fills out a little bit, they are all what appears to be exhausted. Specifically the staff and the teachers. And so when you heal this person and you fill this bit of light, when you return them to a state in which they were stronger, there's a sigh of relief. and they say, "Thank you. Thank you so much."
Yeah. Yeah, no problem. Yep. Okay, I'm gonna. And I just walk. He just walks out. Just
Sure. Okay. So, I think that person catches you right before you you exit, and they're holding a small piece of paper, and they say, I think this might have fallen out of your pocket when you
we're dancing on the ceiling upside down.
Yes, yes. And they give you a small piece of paper.
All right, I take a look at it. Just
So it just says library, and then there's a picture of a moon, and then a little hyphen and the name Torcan.
okay. Hey, I stopped the person who just gave me the little note. What's your name?
Torcan.
Your name is Torcan.
I'm Torcan.
Oh, and this is so okay. Just
They just go like this. Be cool, dude.
right. He just turns it away.
And he turns the other way and goes the other way. Yeah, okay. So Steve Irwin kind of like directs everybody to leave this shattered banquet hall, and he brings you into like a den of sorts where there's a lot of puffy chairs, and he says, you know, we'll get some more. Fuck this character guy. Crikey, we'll get you some more chairs here in a second. Come into the den. We'll bring you some food. And he kind of brings everybody to the den.
I see Gwenig brushing some mashed potato off of her sleeve, and I say, "That's some moves you had."
Oh, thanks. I love to dance. I noticed you were dancing too, and you looked like you were enjoying yourself, even though you were quite uncomfortable.
Yeah, well, I've learned you never can know what's going to happen next around here, so you might as well enjoy it while it happens.
Morbid.
I'm surprised to see you here.
The summoner canceled your request and insisted I become her whatever I am. I don't know. I appreciate what you tried to do, Rex, but honestly, it's been nice. I don't regret it. I did it first. I was quite mad. I do not like feeling like my fate is not in my own hands, but it's been nice.
I thought I overheard someone say that you haven't been able to leave.
She, like, looks around for a second to see who's...
And I said that quietly. I leaned in.
Yeah, she still, like, looks around to see who you are near, and you have a pocket of space, and she says, and she's like, cool. She's like, we haven't tried, but it is the impression that Summoner Cossaint, Senior Summoner Cossaint, gets. We don't know where they're keeping our ships. Once we landed, that was all taken care of for us, and we haven't seen them since. We haven't wanted to be rude, but we're starting to care less and less about that. I've done some digging myself. It's pretty weird around here, Rex. And I used to work for the company at a secret laboratory where they turned your friend into a Jekyll and Hyde monster. And I'm telling you, it's getting weird around here.
Yeah, sorry, I forgot how deeply involved you were with all of that. Yeah, that is the next level of weird.
I think the staff is involved. But
What do you mean?
I don't know. It's obvious that people have gone through our rooms while we've been out, and they've gone to great lengths to keep that a secret.
Did they take anything?
Not that we know of. You know that feeling where it just feels like everything's off, but nothing bad has happened? And that feeling of things being off prolongs, and it just keeps feeling like the other foot's gonna fall at some point?
You basically just described the last 20 years of my life.
Yeah, okay. Well, the foot hasn't fallen yet, but everything still feels off.
Yeah, I kind of figured. Any ideas what's going on?
No, but it seems that Steve Irwin has returned to take up the mantle of Master of the Parallel Order. We have not asked where he was returned from, or why he was gone, or why he is back, because he has, for the most part, facilitated things through messengers and proxies. He seems to have a lot of business in certain areas of the monastery that we've been gently steered away from. But he has returned, and now he runs the show.
Have been... Perhaps you don't know the answer to this, but have the staff noticed any changes about him since he's returned?
You should just ask one of them. Choose a waiter or something and just ask him.
Fair enough.
I think it would answer more questions than me trying to explain it myself.
Well, thank you for sharing what you have observed. I appreciate it.
Yeah, be careful. And hopefully you guys can figure this shit out.
You have some mustard in your hair. I try to wipe it off and it just kind of smears in further.
He just kind of like lets you, and she just says, Rex.
Yeah.
Oh, don't touch me. Don't touch my hair. Don't touch my hair, Rex.
Sorry.
When she turns around, you see that her entire back is covered in gravy, but she hasn't noticed. And she walks away. There's more food and more drinks they're brought in. And again, the plates look even weirder. Tag, you used to work here. You used to work under a master chef. There's like asparagus that's been clipped and dressed, but it has not been cooked. And there's just like meatballs without any sauce. And these are brought out on tin plates that look like TV trays, and everybody's kind of set up in these chairs. And then there's just more drinks and such. And there's a bit more milling around. Is there anything else that you guys want to do? At the conclusion of this, at the conclusion of the meal, Steve Irwin has said that you will be taken to your rooms, which will be your next destination. But if there's anybody else you want to talk to before that happens, now is your moment.
Yeah, let me step into the kitchen.
Sure.
Just excuse myself.
You're able to
chaos.
sneak away. Yeah. There's
Real question: who picks the head of the Parallel Order? And who decided Steve Irwin would replace Fitzroy Mountgo? I don't know that Sir Drake Tamar the bird or gas would have stood for it.
Good.
What was the very
point.
last part of that?
I don't know that Sir Drake Toman the bird or gas would have stood for it.
Gas was the chef. Right? We were
I
talking
think I
about...
played the chef. Yeah.
What's up?
Yeah, I played the chef.
The bird was the chef.
The bird
No,
No.
the bird was
No.
Trin.
Gas
I
was
was
the
not a
chef.
chef.
That's right. Okay, yeah, so Gas would be the chef.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think that to whoever wrote that, I think that that's the question that we're figuring out. It does seem like we've just opened a bit of mystery regarding Sir Crocodile's origins.
Right. That was Mark. That was $5 towards, I think, a hack attack.
Thanks,
Thank
Mark.
you, Mark.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you very much.
Thanks,
You
Mark.
get into the kitchen tag. Will you tell us what it looks like, and I'll tell you how it is right now. What you're used to.
What I'm used to, it's sort of it's a long kitchen with a domed sort of brick vortex dome ceiling, and inset in the sides of it along the corridor, this very long rectangle, are different ovens, different, sort of ice chest, essentially like what a refrigerator would be, but it's not necessary. It's not void powered. There's just some. It's just built in such a way that it kind of sustains itself. It's, in the case of these different ice chests, it's a combination of magic and then just finding this like little sort of elemental cross section of the planet where it naturally can kind of keep itself cold. And there are just tables throughout, long wooden butcher blocks, just like old wood that is curved a bit in the center from just being repeatedly worked over and again. Copper pots hanging from the ceiling. That's what it used to look like.
Sure. How many people for a meal like this, of this importance, would have been staffing it?
At least a dozen.
Okay.
Let's
When
say,
you walk in,
say a dozen.
okay. When you walk in, there are 5 people running around frantically. Gas is in there. Was this a male or female?
Guess who's a guy?
Okay. Gas is there. And they're not. They're just kind of like chopping onions.
Hey, guess. Guess me. It's
Tag. What did Gas sound like, Coronado?
Changed him so he sounded real militant.
All right. Yes, Tag. I thought I might see you.
it's great to see you.
You shouldn't have come.
Why not?
He just like scrapes the onions off into a bowl, and you can see that this bowl is alongside like 4 or 5 others that are just full of diced onions, and there doesn't seem to be any purpose for them. The other people are just running around the kitchen like trying to throw together plates, and as you look at them, you actually realize that you don't really recognize them.
Okay.
Gas says, I had a feeling that you would stop back, especially when you saw our second course.
Well, it's tasty. It was tasty. It's flavors that I haven't seen you experiment with.
Gas takes their hand towel out of their apron string, folds it over, and then slaps you in the face with it.
Hey, I'm not. I don't work for you.
I trained your palate. You will not disrespect the work that I have done by calling a single morsel of that trash tasty.
Okay, it was uninventive, bland, and underseasoned.
Thank you. It was exactly the message I was trying to send.
You did this on purpose?
I was hoping we might have a moment.
Okay, you've got it. Ow! The face?
Food is an art.
Yeah, Cass, I know. You trained me. I know that food is an art. You did all this to talk to me?
You shouldn't be here, Tag. You're just gonna cause trouble.
Look, everyone keeps saying that, but they don't say any more than that.
You're the only one in that party who would realize that things aren't what they're supposed to be. And while we're trying to get things together, it is not as easy as it should have been. Since Steve Irwin has taken over, things have changed rather dramatically. And I would caution you to just let it go.
Yes. This doesn't need to be a teaching moment, okay? If there's something you need to say to me, dispense with the cryptic wisdom and just say it. Do I need to get out of here, or do I need to let it go and go with the flow? What is happening?
It's too late. You will not be able to get out of here now. But when things start to happen, I would just suggest not trying to get your hands on it. Look, Tag, what is your purpose within the parallel order?
What, you know what happened. I was a last-minute sub, but now I'm the fire summoner to Beast Parallel.
Yes, and you took an oath. To do what?
I swore fealty. I swore allegiance, support, love, to challenge her, to encourage her, to be there, to offer whatever protection and guidance I could without acquitting her of the opportunity to be her own agent.
Why?
Why? Because that's my job, Gas. What is this pop quiz?
What part of the oath informed you why you chose these duties? Believe me, it goes on at length as to what is expected of you. But what part of the oath ever addresses why any of this is expected?
Because it's the natural order of the parallel. It's how it has always been and how it always will be. It's what we are. It's what we are because it's what we do, and it's what we do because it's what we are.
Did you ever stop to think that maybe it always has been this way, simply because it always has been this way?
Well, I didn't really have time to get into the esoterics of it because suddenly I went from being a dishwasher to a parallel.
True. What about Violet? Out of game moment, we have clarified that as of Tag's remembrance, Violet was still alive the last time you saw her.
What does that mean? What about Violet?
She had time to get into the esoterics of it. She came here as an infant. She spent her entire life.
Rin's parallel, but that's not how things worked out. Okay, and it's been pretty tough for me to get over the imposter syndrome that I feel. I think about Violet all the time, not only as the parallel who should be doing what I'm doing, but also as one of my best friends.
Tag, you misunderstand where I'm coming from.
Okay, then speak clearer, Teach.
I am not concerned with your personal journey. I do not blame you for where you ended up, nor would I expect you to have acclimated to the life any faster than you already have. I am talking about the parallel order. I am talking about the way things have always been. Violet gave up her entire life. If she had obtained your position, she would have given up the rest of it. And I just want you to start thinking about why. Why does the summoner deserve these children to be groomed and assigned?
Are you suddenly having a change of heart? You have been a part of this institution for decades. And now you're saying that it's wrong? Look, I'm not sorry. I'm getting flustered because I'm just confused, and everything about this is strange, and it feels off, and it makes me feel like if I am who I am because of where I grew up, the experiences I had here, and I suddenly realize, no, Tag, you misunderstood. The things that you thought were happening, that's not what was happening. Then suddenly I've lost that part of who I am. And then I have to rely on this other part of who I am. And I'm not going to bore you with the details, but kind of some shockers in there, some real twists you wouldn't expect.
It is not my place to lay out Steve Irwin's teachings, but I would tell you this. If you seek to learn them, you would do best to prime yourself, and you will do so by asking this question. If the oath lays out in excruciating detail what is expected of you from the moment of your birth till the moment of your death or dismissal, why not spend a single stanza giving you an idea as to why?
Well, I don't know who wrote this thing, how it was organized, and why the call was made about what verbiage to include or not, but I know why I do this. I do this because Bryn is my friend, and I choose to serve her. I want to.
I think that is admirable. I do not mean to tear down or poke holes in your feelings, your honor, or what you perceive to be your destiny.
Okay, well, good, because you couldn't.
I only mean to shed light on the fact that perhaps knowing who wrote this or why it was organized like this is an important part of giving your life up for it.
Did you learn something recently?
Since Steve Irwin's return, we've all learned.
And you're not going to tell me what?
I still recommend that you just stay out of this, Tag, but if you insist, I believe Steve Irwin would be happy to enlighten you too.
Okay, well, thank you. Thank you. Now, you've had your chat with me. Can we please not give up on the rest of this meal?
What would you recommend?
Okay, who's in charge of service? And Tag looks around at the other 5 or so. I think they're like kind of kids, more or less. You know, like
he like whistles.
10, 17.
Yeah, he whistles. Everybody in the kitchen turns to face. A couple more people come out from the back that were not participating actively, and he takes off his hat and hands it to you and walks away. How do you go about this?
Steve Irwin has moved us into a different room.
You're like in a den, you know? You're like in the parlor.
Okay, so we're no
dining
longer at
room
a
is a
table.
bit
We're just
trashed.
kind of like around, right?
Yeah.
He's like, okay, I want the small 6-foot circular tables out. We're not going to use floral pattern. Just give me something solid. Dark purples, bright oranges. Space them throughout the room. In the center, I want an 8-foot oblong. We're going to recreate that cheese platter. I want it full, okay? It's not wasteful, it's aesthetics. If you see something waning, you refill it up. If it's losing bread, you refill it up. I want grapes, dates, and some of those salted almonds just sprinkled throughout. Also, I believe we have some dried apricots in the shed. I want them cut in half long ways. Okay. There's also some salt and pepper in there on the tables before. Salt and pepper has to go as soon as the main entree is done. we're going to forget the chargers, and we're just going to bring out individual wine glasses. I don't want to see wine on a self-service table in the back, okay? This is not some after-hours party. You're going to go out and you're going to ask the guests what they're having to drink. Remember their choice, because it's going to be your job to refill it from that bottle. A red is not any red. What they're drinking is what you're going to refill the glass with. If they are not drinking, you take the glass with you. I don't want to see a single empty glass, okay? Now, what are we doing for dinner, or for dessert, Gas?
He's actually left.
Okay. You with the spiky hair. What's your name?
Clyde.
Clyde. Okay, Clyde. If you go out behind the gymnasium, there's going to be a strawberry patch. I want you to cut the reddest ones you see, bring them back, quick, half again, toss them in a bowl with just a little bit of sugar, put them in a cooler for maybe a minute or two. I want plates cooling at the same time. You start to get the plates cooling.
During all this, they have like clicked into service mode. So everything that you're saying is happening as you're saying it. You're getting immediate results. They're already walking out with the table. They're walking out with the tray. They've already begun setting things up. You can see them getting wine glasses and polishing it. They're polishing silver. Like, it's happening as soon as you're saying it. Clyde is an idiot, but he's right out there.
Not that silver, okay? I want you to look third shelf down behind the fourth oven. That's what we're using. Keep it consistent. Everyone should have forks that look the same. Everyone should have knives that looks the same. All right. We've got the strawberries. What's your name? I point to this girl who looks like she's like 9 years old.
Doris?
Doris? If I say creme fraiche, can you handle that?
She's got a whisk in her hand. And she salutes you.
Okay, great. I just want a dollop and then a mint leaf. Okay? Strawberries, dollop, mint leaf. That's what's going out to everybody. You, and I point to this guy who's like just in the most disproportionately sized stage of puberty when like your arms and legs just don't match your body.
Gordon.
Gordon?
Gordon.
Okay, I should have guessed. Gordon, you're taking coffee orders at the same time as so that when dessert goes out, you're going out with coffee. I want those landing at the exact same time, okay? Okay, Gordon?
Yes, chef! Like everybody, yes, chef! They just like...
Okay, let's go. Everybody's got a job. If you don't have a job, find one.
Okay. Everybody out who's in the den sees this abrupt change. All of that garbage food has been swept away almost without you noticing it. There's like furniture being carried in, cloths being laid over things. Everyone's been given wine glasses and people are asking what you're drinking. It's just happening very quickly. And then unless you wanted to stay in the kitchen, I imagine Tag walks out and joins the party, but with his eye on...
He walks out. I don't think he joins the party. I don't think he like sits down to be served. I think he's there socially, but to like... is not partaking. He's keeping an eye on what's up, and we'll dip back to the kitchen as is necessary.
Sure, yeah. All right. Anything else you guys want to get from this meal? It is, now that Tag's in control, I think a very pleasant time. It is far cleaner. Everybody has some drinks. Everybody has a good time. Anything else you want to get out of this? Anybody else you want to talk to?
I think Sam would go to the library.
Okay.
You know, he got that note. Seems like the thing to do.
It was more of a like, the moon, you could tell, was more of a like time, like a library later kind of thing.
Okay.
Yes. I think that there's going to be a pocket of time after this feast where you guys will kind of have an opportunity to pursue leads. So anything that has piqued your interest, we'll be able to do any of those scenes you'd like. So that library moment will not come and go, Sam. We will be able to get you to the library for that meeting. Yeah. But Torkin is like going around with a wine bottle, like filling up people's stuff right now.
I guess I would like a split second with Bryn if I could have it.
Yeah.
Bryn,
Hmm?
so something happened at dinner, and I wanted to talk to you about it and just get your opinion on it, just get your 2 cents on it, just, throw it out so you could, maybe let me know that everything is totally normal and I won't have to worry about it.
Okay.
So, remember when you gave me that magic lesson and you were like, oh, you just gotta like imagine it in your hand, right?
Right.
Well, while you were talking to your mother, we had this like dance party on the ceiling, and one of the servers fell and broke their arm. And then, without really thinking about it, I just walked over and I like touched their arm, and then it healed. And I was just curious if that's like some sort of like magic placebo from like being near other summoners, or if maybe they healed themselves and I've just correlated my touching with their healing. I don't know. Does that sound normal to you?
Well, the healing arts is a whole separate section of magic that it's not my specialty. It doesn't come naturally to me. I think wait a minute. So you had something weird happen with your touch with Gilvia, right?
That was different.
Wait a minute. I thought you said you had the arrow's touch. I thought that was a magic thing.
Yeah, I mean, hyperbolically, it's a magic thing. It's not like it's more of like a spa magic as opposed to fireball magic. Look,
Okay.
it's like this. I'll put it like this. It's on par with a nice glass of space bubbles. It's that level of magic.
Okay, so let's think about this. And I reach and I grab a knife and I cut my arm and I give it to him. I'm like, heal it.
What?
Heal
okay.
it.
Okay. Sam like puts his hands in like a triangle and like yeah, I don't know how to. I'm
Do what
thinking
you
about
did
it
to
now.
the lady with the broken arm.
I'm thinking. Okay, all right. I'll try.
Roll plus magic.
Okay. Oh, that's a 10.
Yeah, it happens again. Bryn, you know magic, and you've also healed people. This is not what you're used to. You see your flesh return to a place where it was stronger. It's not. Your magic kind of like repairs flesh, like heals it.
Right.
It's almost like Sam was rewinding it to a time when it wasn't cut.
What did you just do? I've never seen that before.
Yeah, now it's my second time right here. We just watched that happen. Yeah.
What? Did something happen when you? Is Puck still? Did Puck have that kind of magic?
Nope. No. Puck did not. Puck was not able to do that. I don't know what that is, but it just happened over there, and now it's happening here. Also, by the way, you sliced your own arm open, and that's a lot as well.
It's a mere flesh wound. It's not a big deal.
It's kind of a big deal, trust me.
Well, it got you to heal me, didn't it?
I mean, yes.
Okay, and I got to firsthand feel what the hell that was. That was crazy.
What was it then? You felt it. You tell me. You know.
I don't know. My arm feels better than it did before. It's like my arm didn't hurt before, or I didn't realize it hurt before, but now I realize I had a pretty effed up arm, and you just made it feel so much better.
Okay, now
it's like you gave me a super arm.
You're welcome.
Thanks.
Yeah, you're yep, super arms.
You never did this on any other planet. It's just been on the moon. on
It's
Silva
a
Celeste?
Silva Celeste thing. Oh my God.
I'll be interested if
food.
you could do it off planet.
There
The
was something
food.
about the food.
Did you eat the food?
Rex
Did you eat the
threw
buns?
Rex threw an anti-gravity bun into my mouth. What if it was an enchanted biscuit?
Can I investigate a mystery to see if it's charmed?
Absolutely. Roll. You're going to actually roll plus magic on this because that's what we're investigating.
10.
Sure. You get 3 questions. I may decide to have Casey answer some of them, but we'll see.
Okay. Was the biscuit charmed? The bun?
No.
No. Did Sam have this power before getting on this planet? Without knowing it.
I don't think either of you would have the answer to that.
Okay. What? Okay. Is this some kind of healing power that is known or has been heard about?
I do not think so.
Oh, okay.
This kind of magic that you just witnessed is something that you've only seen happen like one other time, and it was in a very different context. Way back on the Bloom planet, Tag was able to perform a ritual that showed you guys like a different time. It was outside the laboratory that had been scorched. He did a ritual that kind of showed you what had led up to that moment, and you saw it in reverse. That's the closest kind of thing you've ever seen to this, and they don't even seem like they're exactly the same.
Okay. Did my middle question count? Because you said there's no way to know that.
No, it will not. That'd be pretty lame.
Okay, so do I sense any kind of different energy around Sam? Magic.
This is the one that I'm going to let Sam answer for himself. I don't have all these answers, so we'll see what he thinks.
In what way would you be sensing it?
Just reaching out into the face states. Face? Do you show up in the face state? Now that you're one with Puck?
Why don't you tell her what you look like in the face state? I don't think that we've discussed it.
Yeah. Well, it's not Puck. Huh. I don't know. I don't know, Jesse. I think it would be sort of like
I think it would be you, but
yeah.
I think that you would look like the Super Saiyan version of yourself, where it's like you but heightened. Your eyes would probably be glowing purple. Your hair would look slightly different, and there would be
spiky
a crackle.
Hair.
Yeah,
He's for sure got spiky hair.
He's got spiky hair, and there'd be like a crackle of something around you, void-like. I think that you would read as it, but it would be a subtle change, you know?
Okay.
Yeah, you see that there is magic on Sam in a way that's never happened before. And it is kind of like void magic.
Well, there's definitely something different going on. I don't think it's necessarily something bad. I think it's really cool.
Well, it's definitely something.
Well, is it changing anything else besides just sort of rewinding time?
One difference I've noticed is that I can't get drunk.
Well, that's not going to work for you.
Well, you know that very first night, the night with all the Chinese food?
Right.
I drank all night and was stone sober the whole time.
Maybe was Puck's gift to you.
I don't know if I would frame it as a gift,
A curse.
but it's definitely something.
Well,
Yeah,
thanks for healing me.
yeah. In the future, let's just spare the whole like you dicing yourself, and maybe we can find some other experiments that don't involve self-lacerations.
It's okay. I don't need to do it again. We got what we needed. You're obviously it came from you. So to answer your question, this is all you.
Okay, so.
Maybe we can find some books in the library about it.
Oh yeah, Tag would definitely be able to sort us through the Dewey Decimal System that they use here, and you as well. Like I'm sure you also. Is this you've been to Silva Celesso? What is the? No, you've never. This is just the parallel home base. This is not. Is it like a pound? Like you come here and you?
No,
pick?
I've never been here.
Okay.
And I want to see if like
So
Tag-
disrespectful.
Ted can show us all the secrets. I want to know all the secret like staircases behind like fireplaces and like all the places that we shouldn't go. I want to see if Tag will take us through them.
Yeah, I'm gonna be just real honest with you. I've had some bad experiences with secret staircases ever since Fire Planet, where I got locked in your mom's dungeon. So I'm just gonna take all secret passages with a grain of salt for now. But I'm game now, especially now that I can just boop. Oh, I wonder what else I can do. Boop.
Do you feel tired or anything? Did it make you feel weird? Drain your energy?
No. I don't think so.
Wow.
Feel pretty okay. Yeah. I feel okay. Feel I don't know. I mean, the coffee here is great, and the dance party on this. I guess it just all seems normal with after a dance party on the ceiling. Everything just kind of seems
Can't believe
regular.
I missed a dance party talking to my mom. I miss everything.
As they're having this conversation, the party's starting to wind up. The strawberries come out. They look perfect, tagged to your specifications. They land with coffee at the exact same moment, as though it was beautifully coordinated. But Rex, as you're standing there,
Good job, Gordon.
you find yourself... Huh?
Good job, Gordon.
You're welcome. As you're standing there, Rex, you find yourself alone for just a moment, and Steve Irwin actually sidles up to you, despite how much trouble I'm having with this accent tonight. And he says, I love strawberries.
Yeah. Who doesn't?
I haven't had a...
It's crikey. That's your inward.
I haven't had a strawberry in a long time.
There it is.
There it
A
is.
very long time. In fact, I've been looking forward to coming back here just for most of the food more than anything else, and having goddamn water here whenever I want it.
Yeah, I know what that's like. When you're away and you're just craving those comforts of home. You know, I feel most like that when I'm on the Bloom planet.
Why's that?
Huh? Oh, that's not where you were?
Oh, I'd be so lucky to be exiled to the Bloom planet.
Oh. Well, I know we had a real devil of a time when we were on Blight. That place was a monster. Like a crocodile.
Yeah, that would have sucked too. But as I can see you having a good time guessing, where else might you think that I've been exiled?
Well, there's any number of moons out in this place, but
It was a fire planet. There wasn't enough water, and I could barely ever get anything more than a lizard on a stick to eat.
those are pretty tasty if you char them just right, you know?
Yeah, you try eating them for 5 years straight, every single meal.
It's a long time.
Yeah.
What part of the fire planet were you on again?
I have no idea. I got moved there after I nearly escaped. I did spend some time there on Bloom, a little bit on Blight. Seems every time I got close to getting off, they shipped me over to a new place. They dropped me right in the middle of the desert. I did manage to escape, but it took me 5 whole years of having to survive in the desert.
Who's they?
They, and he motions to the monastery. They, the Parallel Order.
They sent you to the desert and then they kept you out there until they called you back here?
Well, yeah, if you use the verb sent, then you do have to justify it afterwards. But if I told you that they exiled me to the Fire Planet, wouldn't require much explanation after that.
Well, actually, it engenders some more questions, because then I wanted to ask you, we've just met, but I'm very curious now about your life and why they would have exiled you there in the first place.
I'd be happy to answer that for you. But first, I must say I'm being so forthcoming because I feel as though, Rex, we might have a lot in common.
Now, do go on.
Well, you work for the company, yeah?
I do.
Don't like it very much, do you?
I don't know what gave you that impression.
Oh, you been hanging out with that tag fella, yeah?
Of course, I've been assigned to take charge of the future summoner to be and everyone who travels with her.
Well, sure then. You've seen him read other people's minds and do all that sort of thing.
He keeps pretty quiet about any mind reading that he's doing. I don't think that's what he's doing.
Oh, yeah. Parallel been very secret for a long time. They don't like people knowing what all they're capable of because it would reveal their cards and everyone else would know how to bet. That's one of the things I don't like very much about them. In fact, I'll just tell you straight up. I've read you like a book there, Rex. You might want to click that little thing in your pocket.
I clicked it about 5 minutes ago when you first started walking up here. So maybe you can read my mind, but you can't read what I'm doing with my hands.
Fair enough. They exiled me, Rex, because I, like you, felt that simply having a big, powerful structure that's been around for long enough wasn't good enough to keep it around any longer. And once I started to figure out why this big, powerful structure had been here for so long and stumbled onto some of those answers, well, they didn't like that too much at all.
So why did they let you gather everyone if you were dangerous?
Well, they're dangerous too, Rex, as are you. When everybody's dangerous, then we could just have a conversation. No one's got to prove anything, you know? My first order of business was stealing a company ship and getting back here. And once I did, I made sure that I was the one making all the rules.
Smart.
I thought so too.
So
You're an executive, yeah?
Pretty high level, yeah.
Interesting. What do you know about this Gilvia Corgold?
Listen, I appreciate how forthcoming you've been with me, but you'll also have to know that anyone who works with the company as much as I do, well, we have to be a little bit careful about who we trust. And if you really have read my mind, then you know everything that I know about Gilvia Corgold.
Well, there's something weird about Gilvia Corgold because there's some pockets of your mind I can't reach, and all the threads that lead to them seem to be connected to her. And that funky energy she's putting off smells a lot like those pockets in yours.
Have you ever encountered anything like that before?
No, but to be fair, I haven't spent much time around summoners. I was supposed to be bound to one, and then I got ornery, and so I've spent most of my time alone.
You, ornery? Can't imagine that.
Rex. I was hoping that you and I might be able to come to some kind of understanding.
To what end?
Well, I'd like to know a lot more about this Gilvia Corgold, and in particular, how invested she is in the objectives of the company.
Well, let me tell you this. I offered to be here as her bodyguard to keep an eye on her for the company. And they turned me down cold. Now, why would they not want one of their top executives keeping an eye on someone who's ostensibly so important to whatever the company is doing here?
Why indeed?
Like you said, everybody here is dangerous.
Well, Rex, I can see that you don't come by trust all that easy. But if you're ever interested in learning some of the ways to tear down the old and bring about the new, I might just be able to teach you a few things.
Well, maybe we'll see more of each other a little later then.
I'd like that. I'll have, he looks around and you can see that it's mellowed out quite a bit. He says, I'll have one of the parallels bring you to your room. Thanks for the chat.
Likewise.
He then walks by one of the plates of strawberries that's been set aside. Somebody's obviously had a couple bites but left it, and he kind of looks around and winks at you and then picks it up and eats it as he walks away.
And as soon as he turns away, you see Rex kind of going like, weird dude.
All right. Well, the party's wrapping up, and they are offering to take you to your rooms. Unless, I just don't want to lock you out from any scenes that you might want to have.
Did
While
Steve
everybody's
see
on the
what
same
happened to Varick?
Did
Did
Steve
see what happened to Barik? $5 from Merc. Thanks, Merc.
Thanks, Mark.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you,
don't know.
Mark.
I don't know. I'm not going to answer all these good questions from chat because they're a little too good. Yeah, so somebody comes on. Gordon comes over in his gangly, kind of like loping prance and escorts you guys to the dormitory. Or you're just led away. You're led to a chamber on the other side of the monastery. Tag, do you want to tell us anything about the place as you walk through it? Any of your favorite spots? You're going to kind of be crossing the entirety of this place to where you know you're headed towards the area where most of the parallels and training lived.
I'll just reiterate, it's got a very old school, old boarding school vibe, but without any of the affluence, and instead replace that with just a sort of rustic, you might almost say it's not in shambles. It looks like it is, it's sturdy. It's not going to fall apart, but it's raw.
Okay. Sure. There's a bunch of corridors, and a bunch of side chambers and a bunch of rooms. There's such a lot of everything here. Tag, one of the things that you recognize first is that it just feels a bit emptier. Thinking about how minimal the staff in the kitchen was, how minimal the staff at the feast were, how many people were there to greet you guys. It just seems a bit draftier in here. There's not as many people as you would come to expect, and some of the faces that you were expecting to see haven't shown up yet.
Okay.
And Tag, you recognize the door that you've been brought to before it's even opened. When it is, the rest of the party sees that you've been brought to a dormitory. It's a communal space, though all of the bunks are empty. All of the mattresses are bare, and there are no personal effects of any kind in the room. None of this makes sense to you, Tag. This is where the parallels and training live together, and when you last saw it, it was a very warm and welcoming place. It's now empty.
Gordon, has this been cleared out to house us temporarily?
He looks around and sees that he's the only one that's with you, and he kind of ushers you inside, and when you all go in, he closes the door very quietly behind you. And he says, they'll notice me if I stay too long. Roll investigate a mystery, Tag.
Forgive me. 7.
You will be able to ask Gordon 2 questions before he needs to leave.
Okay.
If that first one is, that's okay.
If the first one, what?
You asked, had this been cleared out just for you guys? If you would like that to be one of your questions, it can be.
Not necessarily.
Okay, yeah, what do you want?
Well, where is everyone?
They're learning.
Let me pause the fiction for just a second, because I do just want to flesh out, there are, what are there, 6 planets?
Mm-hmm.
So 6 summoners active at any one time. They may have, summoners in training. There's not a huge turnover for parallels, and yet this is a whole monastery. So I do think that part of what that is that it's not certain, everyone who is inducted into the order, that they are going to be a parallel. It is not actively a competition, but it is a bit about kind of finding who the right parallel is for the right summoner. It is about having just that supply, but also parallel trainees go in knowing that through no fault of their own, the end of this journey is not necessarily to be a parallel, and it's not a success or failure. It's not like, oh, either I get a spot as parallel or I have failed. There are a lot of different paths that come from this training that are seen as equally viable. Being a parallel is a very specific, very ritualized, kind of ancient, very well-regarded one. Obviously, it is very exciting and very special when a parallel turns out of that. But I just wanted to mention that because I think I was turning through some questions of like, what is there, like, like a staff of 100 to train like 4 people here at any given moment? But I think that's what's
Sure.
Anyway, back to you and Gordy.
Yeah, I do think it is important too that there is it in my mind when a child outside the summoner line shows any kind of magical affinity, it is just common practice for those people to go into parallel training. And so anybody outside summoner lines who can do magic is kind of plucked out of society and put into this monastery and trained.
And it is all parallel training, but most people go in knowing they're not going to be a parallel. It's not a great change or disappointment. It's sort of the name parallel training or the parallel order is an artifact of that society or of that whatever. But
sure. Yeah, which is to say, like Rex, Sam, you guys probably haven't met that many people in your life who could do magic because those people are at the monastery or they're working for a summoner or they are a summoner. Yeah, so Gordon says they're being taught.
Being taught what? By who?
They're learning Steve Irwin's ways.
What? Where?
Hashtag
In-
hack attack. Where is Summoner Zulamar of the water planet?
I don't know. Right off the top of my head. She's supposed to be here. She's supposed to be here.
You know, you had the opportunity to drop an intriguing bit of mystery, except that you clearly telegraphed, like, yeah.
I'll figure out where Zulamar is.
Well, we don't have to take time with it, but I do think that that's like, you know, there's that idea in improv that there are no mistakes. So I
why
think that's
wouldn't
cool.
she be here? Why wouldn't she be?
Yeah, I think if we have established that she's not here, then yeah, I think that is important. Is that
I just realized where she is.
We've never met her, have we?
No, there was a whole part of the water planet that we did not go to.
Yeah, because you guys only saw a lab, a secret lab. There was not much more of the water planet that you guys saw. Yeah, I know where Zulamar is. Now that we're talking about it, I just got an idea that I really like. So I just made a note of it, and we will fit that into the puzzle that's happening.
who gets our gratitude for that little nugget?
That was Merc.
Thanks, Mark.
Thanks, Merc. Thanks, Merc.
Merc knows.
Okay, yeah, I got it. Light bulb. Okay, yeah. Gordon says that they've been taken to learn the ways of Steve Irwin.
Okay, Gordon, how long ago? I'm now just asking him questions. Is that cool?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. How long ago, Gordon?
He's gonna ask this and maybe one follow up, and then he's gotta go.
Oh, right.
He says, well, when we found out, it wasn't long after this whole thing started, and he kind of waves his hand to say, like, the whole fucking chain reaction of planets being bubbled up by magic and cut off from the rest of the system. He said, when that happened, we realized everything had been wrong, and then Steve Irwin showed up to kind of, well, help us set it right. I gotta go.
Gordon, is that what you believe? You.
As he's slipping out, Sam, you notice again that he just looks exhausted. And he says, as the door's kind of like closing, he says, not everybody agrees on that. And he closes the door.
Shit pisses me off.
You're in a dorm room that is empty. There are chests at the foot of some of these beds.
It's just the team, or it's the summoner? It's everybody from the party.
It's just the team.
Okay.
Is there any linens in the chests?
Yeah, the chests at the foot of the bed just have some sheets, blankets, and pillows. Just kind of your basic camp bunk situation.
So, Tag, clearly that's not sitting right with you. This whole thing is feeling a little weird to me. Not that today's been a particularly normal day, honestly, but, you know, I just don't want to dismiss this most recent piece of weirdness.
Yeah. What? Yes. Are you asking if it's weird? Yeah, it's weird. It's weird.
Yeah.
This is not. I was so excited to show you guys this place. This is not it, and I'm worried in the most important sense, but also in like a secondary feeling. I'm disappointed because I was excited to show you guys around. I was excited for you guys to eat the food. I was excited to share the one place that I do have a connection to. And this isn't fucking it.
Well, you know, silver lining, it's really making you look great. Like, you're looking like an absolute all-star, that you're the caliber of parallel that has come out of this sort of work environment. Because, like, to be honest, I've eaten some subpar meals as a bachelor. And, you know, meatballs without sauce is like... That's even low for me, man.
It didn't have a dog in it.
Yeah, that just seems, I don't know, it's super weird.
Well, can we salvage this day? Is there any like cool rooms in this place that are nearby that you used to visit, or is there a secret passageway or something that we could go through?
Yeah, there is one thing.
What?
So I lead them down and out. We go down the it's not the front steps, the sort of grand entrance. It's just like a little side. You have to go through the kitchen, down into the cellar, and then out. And where it leads you out is actually below the surface. It's just kind of this little carved out pit that's used for growing different kinds of mushrooms that do well at a subterranean level. There's a ladder that you crawl out of, and we're back on the ground. And then we walked over, and we soon find ourselves in the strawberry patch behind the gym. And what the gym looks like, it's not like a like pumping iron weights gym. It's the physical training area. It's its own building, and it sort of looks not as big, but it sort of looks like the Denver airport. If anyone's seen that,
Many times.
Yeah.
yeah. So it's almost as if the roof is tiled. It's not canvas, but it looks like there were just like 6 different poles that a tarp was loosely draped over. So it's got these 6 different peaks, 2 by 2, 3 of them, and in between it just bows down to such an extreme degree, and it bows down so low that at the edges of it, it's only maybe 10 feet off the ground. But there's sort of a what's the word I'm looking for? Not terrace. So a lattice work. What's the word I'm looking for?
Those are 2 different kinds of things. What do you want it to look like?
Just the like cross thatched wood.
Lattice.
Yeah, like a lattice.
Lattice.
It's called a lattice.
I
Mm-hmm.
believe so, yeah.
Yeah, that you can like. Essentially, what I'm saying is that with a little bit of effort, it's not obvious that you can get on the roof, but with a little bit of effort and the idea to try, you can get onto the roof. And then it's just this wild sensation. It's not like climbing a tree, and it's not like you're just sort of like walking on. Sometimes you can stand, but sometimes you got to be on all fours and just sort of like shimmy your way up and around to these peaks. And it's just a beautiful night sky above us, and it's so quiet. And then you can just kind of like slide down and slide in all directions across the roof, and then climb back up, and you can just stand there, or you can slide, sort of penguin slide down, and you could try to like run down one really fast and get enough momentum that you can then run without using your hands to the next peak. So this is where I take us.
This
While
is
we're
amazing.
there, I kind of like I'm watching people slide down, and the tag is off by himself a little bit, and I walk up to him and I say, "Can I? This is really great. Thank you for taking us here. Can I talk to you for a second?"
Am I in trouble? I feel like I'm in trouble.
Maybe all of you are in trouble. And I, gesture to this entire thing. Maybe we are all in trouble. Can you read my mind?
I haven't.
But you can?
Well, no, I can't. Okay, first of all, I just really, really do want to stress that I have not done any of the things that I'm about to say would be hypothetically possible. So I need you to confirm that you understand what I just said.
I can confirm that you are claiming that you have not done any of the things you were just about to say that you are able to do.
Right, but I'm claiming that because it's true, because I haven't done that.
Well, I can't read your mind, so I don't know if that's true or not.
Okay, that was good. That was
Sorry,
good.
I didn't mean to get...
That was clever. I can tune in. I can tune in to, and I have. You've been there when I've tuned into the the phase, to things in the phase, to things out of the phase, to try and find people, to try and figure out what's going to attack us, to try and learn where the danger lies. It's not like I'm reading ticker tape of thoughts. It's instinct, it's feelings, it's the sense that I need to dodge because I know something's coming. It's understanding that the thing I'm standing across from intends to hurt me. But if you were thinking of a word, I couldn't just tell you what that word is. Could not do that.
Could not.
Could not do that. Very well.
So you can do that.
Well, I don't know. It depends. If the word was something like strawberry, it's possible that I might just start to taste that, but I'd have to really be paying attention. And no one plays just like guess the word mind games with the parallel. This is it's okay. So Rex, so you can punch. I can't punch, but sometimes I have a pretty good sense of when something's about to punch me, and I can respond to that.
You have gotten better at dodging. It's been impressive.
Thanks. You have really no room for improvement. Your punches have always been devastating.
Thank you.
What brought this about? Also, I imagine, by the way, that we're just like sharing a peak. We're just like both kind of like on the like furthest one, maybe on the backside of it. What brought this about?
We just had a very unsettling conversation with old Crikey Crocodile.
Yeah.
He seemed to heavily imply that he could read my mind, as in very specific things that I was thinking and feeling. And I know I've seen you do your thing where you're like tuning in to people, but
yeah.
I guess that never seems like you could, like you were saying, read individual thoughts. And
well, I guess here's how I think about it. We all have the capacity for great violence, great destruction. If I were to read your thoughts, that would be an extraordinary violation of your personhood, your trust. You also have the ability to snuff my life out, to crush my trachea, to end me. You have that ability, but you also have judgment and integrity, and that determines when something is a weapon or a tool. And I guess I think of this the same way. But more importantly, I something is up with Steve Irwin.
do you know his story at all? I
No.
have no idea if anything that he told me is true.
No,
But he told me he was exiled to the Fire Planet and that he managed to escape.
well, if that's true, and if he came back, I don't know how he just became the Grand Master of the Order. There's a process. There's a chain of command. There's
When does the master normally change?
the master steps down.
Do they
But
usually do that, like when it's time? I don't have answers to this. I'm straight up just like mining for some.
It's rare. I mean, it's not. There's not a lot of. It's not a high turnover position, the Grand Master of the Order. And I only left. I mean, I went from Silva Celesso essentially to Haven, where I first met Bryn. So this has happened very, very recently. And I don't recall the name right now, but the Grand Master of the Order was not in any way indicating that they were coming up on retirement. You know, like you announce your retirement years out because the process is so involved. Everyone knows, sort of. It's there's no surprises about it. You know when these transitions are coming because so much has to be done to prepare. So Rex, yeah, it's fishy,
To say the least.
to say the least. I'm really sorry that you felt violated. I feel responsible because you're one of us, but also because I have some sense of, you know, that he would do this in the name of parallels. It makes me feel like I have to explain that, and I can't. That's not. Well, one, you know, every parallel is different in what they can do, but also, you know, those psychic powers are. Yeah, it's not.
But
a,
if I'm hearing you correctly, it's theoretically possible.
Very much, yes.
Thanks. And she pats his shoulder, and I think for the first time in their history, Tag does not take 1 damage.
But it does, like, a little bit loses balance and the slide down the slope through.
I think the rest of this is pretty chill. You guys enjoy Tag's area here, where you're just sliding around and having a good time and enjoying the skyline. And then when you do eventually climb down, you're heading back towards the monastery, and you pass the door to the gym, which was closed on your way, and you just hear it kind of like close. You know, like you're walking, and then you just kind of hear it close, as though it had been opened, and then it just kind of closed on its own. And when you turn around to see, it is kind of like tapping in the wind.
Okay, I walk up to it and poke my head in.
Sure. It is pitch black inside.
Bryn, can you help me out?
Yeah, I'll light a little fire.
What does this gym look like? You said that it's not like a just pumping iron kind of place. Inside, what kind of things do we got?
There are different areas. I think you can imagine it's like what a training. Say again?
Aerial silks and giant trampolines.
I was kind of thinking along those same lines, honestly.
Yeah, for sure that stuff's it's like it's all of that stuff, but sort of styled as if it was the training grounds of a bunch of different knights. Okay. You know, that it's like there's straw on the ground. There are different areas with different areas suited to different purposes. It's very grand. It's very large.
I kind of want to jump off of something that you said, whether or not you intended it. You said it looks like there was 6 poles. I think that each section underneath those poles would represent the different planets. And so underneath the fire planet, there would be a ring of sand. And then underneath the bloom planet, there would be a ring of grass. And on water, there would be, I guess, just fucking water. Maybe like a pool. Yeah. You know, like I think that each of these sections would be there. And then outside of that, there would be all of the things that we just discussed. There would be aerial silks, trampolines, probably several different weapon racks, just a couple places where you could like spar, you know, like there would be some weights, there would be some, you know, all kinds of shit. You can't see all of that. Tag would be the only one who really knows. But as you walk in, I think the water section is closest to the door. And so when Bryn lights the fire, you get a little reflection off of that. And as you move into the space, it's clear that there is a presence here, though Bryn's fire doesn't necessarily give you enough light to see immediately. And you walk a ways in, passing through each of these places at the bottom of the poles. And then, Tag, you see it first because you're taken back for a second. You feel like you're in that premonition that you had. Because right at the edge of Bryn's fire, as she stops for just a moment to examine the sand that she actually picks up, and you can feel, Bryn, this is from your planet. These places would have been cultivated specifically to help the training of the parallel. So this sand was flown here from your world. When she stops to do that, Tag, you see when she lowers down and the light reaches more of the floor than the open area, you do actually see the toes of black leather boots that the ring of light she's created has only just illuminated. And you are the first person to see it, Tag.
Toes like of someone standing, or just like toes sticking out, buried in the sand?
Toes someone standing in the aisle between all of the rings.
Hi. Hello?
There is no response initially, and the feet do not move. What do the rest of you do?
I circle the flank.
Okay, we're gonna have that be Rex's action. We're gonna pause it mid-movement just to kind of establish the scene here. But Rex is going to circle to flank.
In case they try and make a break for it.
Sure.
I startle at Tag, and I instinctively walk with my fire over to where he was looking to see if I can light up what's there.
Okay. So Bryn steps forward, and the light moves a foot forward to reveal the rest of the person. We'll kind of hold that as an action. Sam?
Yeah, I'm just watching as the light unfolds. I don't know if I caught the boots, and it seems like I'm just going to be on high alert, probably have karate hands lately. This seems like a karate hands type situation. Just, ready to, Sam is in this weird phase of his life of being so accustomed to being able to turn into Puck that he stopped carrying a blaster, and so he has no weapons right now, and he's realizing that was a really bad call. So, yeah, he doesn't know karate, but his hands are ready to practice it.
It all kind of happens at once. So as Sam is bringing the karate hands up, and Rex is instinctively countering their position, and Bryn steps forward to reveal, Tag, you stand to see a very familiar face. It catches you off guard because at first you're positive that you've just seen Violet. But then you realize you're looking at a skull. And Bryn's light has only just revealed it. Very Crypt Keeper-esque as this skull is standing there. The figure is dressed all in black with a hood up. And their face has been painted expertly with a very ritualistic-looking skull. Rex, as you step out of the light and into the shadow, you hear movement above you as some of the aerial silks start to dangle and spin. And as Bryn holds the light up and it flares for just a moment to give you a sense of this very large and open gymnasium, you all see these figures as they start to unroll from the aerial silks and slide down some of the poles and come up out of the water and out of the sand. And they are all dressed in black, and all of their faces are painted in skulls. And the one standing closest to you, who's holding a very familiar looking blade, Tag, which is a tonfa that is made out of what should be a curved sword, she says, "It's been a while, Tag. I'm very happy to see you." Blackout.
And then she stabs you.
Oh. boy.
We
Looks
can
like
do some crazy shit during this bumper when they can't hear us.
right.
We learned that's not the case.
Yeah, wow. Wowie, wee.
Cool, y'all. I got some spook bumps at the end there.
Yeah, we're gonna fight. I feel a fight.
I don't know. Something.
Maybe not. Maybe they want us to join whatever weird death cult shit they're doing. Who knows?
Yeah. Weird.
Skull's
cool.
never a good sign. It's never
Is
a
it
good sign.
November 1st,
Huh?
Day of the Dead?
It is not Dia de los Muertos, no.
Alright. Well, then they're trouble. Otherwise, they could just be having a nice party.
Oof. Spooky. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
So
Spooky
that's
season.
when Lisa, you said, is there a place here, that just came to my mind. That is from where I went to school. The gym roof at my college is that exactly. And if you work hard enough, you can climb onto it. And it's just these like,
Oh,
it's what I
can you
described.
slide down it too?
Yeah.
That's so dope.
That's not a graceful sign. I mean, it is the roof of a building. You're not like like perfectly lubed up and just going. I was excited to share that with all of you, and then also all of you there.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Part of my life that I really love and miss that spot quite a bit.
All right, we got a question from chat.
We do. This one's from Merck. Favorite movie soundtrack?
Oh, wow.
I'm going to
Wow.
go first. If I was in high school, I would have said the Spider-Man 2 soundtrack. Because look up that track list. That shit is dope.
Straight fire.
But now I would say Romeo plus Juliet, Baz Luhrmann.
Wow, that's a good
I'm
one.
gonna pick you, bastard.
That's a real good one.
Yeah.
It's real good.
Man, that's hard. Well, if I was going high school, it would have been either Swing Kids or Immortal Beloved. But now, every time Last of the Mohicans comes on, I'm just like,
Oh, fire.
that is my song.
Fire. That is fire.
So yeah, I'm gonna pick that for now.
That is a great soundtrack. Those violins.
For me, high school, it would have been I think, quite cringingly cliche Garden State soundtrack.
That's a good one.
And I say if I were in high school, but like the reality is that still slays me.
Any album that's got frou frou on it gets
Sure.
a green check mark from me.
Let go. It's not a soundtrack, but there was that summer where Armageddon and City of Angels came out, and so we had Iris by the Goo Goo Dolls and I Don't Want to Miss a Thing by Aerosmith, just like fighting it out for the VH1 top countdown spot. I feel like I told this story on stream a week ago, and so I apologize if I did, or maybe I told it off stream. But I remember being very young, watching. Did I tell the Die Hard with a Vengeance story?
If you have, I would like to hear it again.
Okay,
Oh,
thank
yeah.
you for your permission.
I don't think you have.
I was very young, and I saw Die Hard with a Vengeance. It's the third Die Hard movie and the first one that I saw. And it opens, I don't know who the band is, but it opens with that, hot down, summer in the city, back of my neck getting burned and gritty, bend down, isn't it a pity? You guys know the song I'm talking about? I guess I'm asking all of chat, but they can't really say. I'm going to assume that you're nodding. Anyway, it's all around, people looking after, walking on the sidewalk, hotter than a match, yeah. Anyway, and I was just like, I love that song so much, in the way that at that age, every new discovery was so monumentous. I was just like, this, I knew like 6 or 7 songs, so I was like, this is the one. And the only way I knew to, I didn't know how to figure out what song it was. I couldn't look up Google the lyrics or anything. So I just went to the CD store in the Moorcroft Shopping Center, and got the Die Hard with a Vengeance soundtrack. Just went in and purchased it with like probably all of the money I had, and I came home, and it was just like the orchestral score of the movie, and that's all it was.
Oh,
And I was just
no.
like, but I didn't know how to rectify it because I didn't know how to look up anything. So I was just like, well, fuck. So I would just watch the opening scene of that movie whenever I wanted to listen to the song because I just like, there, you asked a simple question, you got a whole story.
This is a tough question. This is real tough for me. So you guys will have to indulge a few honorable mentions. The first thing that comes to mind is, this is not the pick, but just the theme from The Shining. Like the original Shining, it's just like, it's a very Kubrick, like bum 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 bum. I love horror movies. Anyway, so it's
I didn't know
that,
that.
yeah. Oh, I've seen more horror movies than any other genre of movie.
Ah,
So
Saint Agatha?
I did watch that because we have a mutual friend in that film, and it was on Netflix. I saw it back in the day. Also, what I think one of my favorite activities is finding Trin in movies, like where I'm like, "What? That's amazing!" Anyway, I find that stuff very impressive because I'm still in like movies aren't real, but Trin is real to me. So then my brain's like, whoa, crossover. It's like she went to another dimension.
Trin's in a movie called Saint Agatha, by the way, which everyone should watch.
It was also really fun. My buddy watched, I think it's Captain Fantastic the other day, and I was like, oh, my friend's in that. And he was like, I really like that movie. I was like, yeah, my friend's in that. So like, we're basically I'm in that. So
By transitive property, you are all in Captain Fantastic.
Hell yeah!
But my honor
property is awesome.
I'm trying to think of the soundtrack to Captain Fantastic now. But the super honorable mention has got to be Braveheart. Like I've listened to that so many times. But just out of principle of like what album I've listened to the most, I got to go with Purple Rain. Not my favorite movie, but I've listened to more Prince than like anything. And I just think in terms of like all out greatest hits, like if I made like, you've got to represent Earth with a couple of jams, Purple Rain's going on that. It's just, yeah. So
Fun fact, that song, they wanted that song for Captain Fantastic, but could not get the rights for it.
Oh wow.
Yeah. It was supposed to be like the song near the end where the kids all sing it together with Vigo. Couldn't make that happen. So I don't just echo Jesse, because I think that after flipping through my brain, I think that does stick in there as still my favorite movie soundtrack. The first thing I thought of was somewhat similar to what you experienced, Connor, which is I don't remember how old I was when I saw Jerry Maguire, but I saw Jerry Maguire and I got really fixated on the moment where he's in his car and, you know, he's just like walked out of work and he turns on the radio and it's Tom Petty's Free Falling. And he's just singing at the top of his lungs and like drumming on the dashboard. And it was my first experience, I think, of hearing a song in a movie that so perfectly like it captured what was going on in that moment. And it was that fusion between the music and what was happening that wasn't a Disney song. And so I wanted that song more than anything. And so I went to the store and I purchased, you know, probably with all of my money, the soundtrack. And that is the one freaking song in that whole movie that is not on the soundtrack. And I couldn't Google it. So I had no idea what that song was for years. Because my parents didn't listen to me. Like, we didn't really go to movies or listen to popular music. And the popular music that was popular with kids my age, like, definitely was not Tom Petty. And so for a long time, I had no idea what that song was. And the only place I would be able to like hear it regularly is if I watched Jerry Maguire.
I feel you.
Yeah. Yeah, I was so destroyed when I listened, because I didn't know what the song was called, so I was like, oh, maybe it's this one, and so I got all the way through the CD.
Oh.
Like, it's not on here.
Let me share one quick story. It's just you guys needing one song from a movie is what made me think of it. Do you guys remember that movie Small Soldiers?
No.
It's like you said, of course, Connor.
Tommy Lee Jones, I believe, is in that movie.
It's a movie about little robot toys that take over. I remember it being fun and silly. I don't know if it would hold up today. Anyway, I remember just hanging out with my friend at the time. We were young, and we had to like go hang out at his aunt's house or something because his parents are going over there, and his cousin was a real turd, and so we were just like ragging on this guy. I didn't even know him yet, but I guess my buddy was trying to like describe who this guy would be like. And so we were just like, 10, like talking shit. And so he's like, he doesn't even like music. He just likes that song, Another One Bites the Dust from Small Soldiers. Yeah, that's all.
Oh,
That's
man.
funny.
Almost Famous soundtrack. Also, Slays.
It's good.
And The Greatest Showman. I listened to that for like
I've
8
listened
years
for a
straight.
while, but I wonder if Grosse Point Blank holds up. I remember liking that a lot back in the day.
Pulp Fiction.
All
Mm,
Fiction's good.
Scream. I had that soundtrack. It was very fun.
Okay, it's not a soundtrack, but I also listen to a lot of Pure Moods, and it should be a movie soundtrack. It's great.
Yep.
Actually, a lot of those songs do show up on movie soundtracks, and it always makes me laugh because it just makes me think of the Pure Moods CD.
Oh, I got to give a shout out to the remake of Solaris. That is, if you like just some ambient music, like lovely music. Like I know everybody hates on that movie, but
I liked it.
I was like,
No,
when I saw it, it's George Clooney and who is that? She's an
Sandra Bullock.
no, it's an Irish actress, or
Natasha
Scottish.
something?
Yeah. She was in Ronin, and she
With
anyway.
Robert De Niro?
Yeah. She plays the female connect who connects them to the job. But yeah, I just found that movie. It's Steven Soderbergh. I'm a sucker for Soderbergh, and it's just super. It's like a slow burn. Like I just find it. It's one of those. I was super angsty at the time, so it was like, oh, like he's like his heart's so broken, but he's like in space, and like listen to this soundtrack. It's just like magnifying his loneliness, but she's like so lovely, and I was just like, feeling myself in space. Yeah.
Great question.
Yeah,
That was a really
just
good
all going on, I think. Can't Hardly Wait. If you want just a roundhouse kick of all the bangers on Delivered.
Oh, Empire Records. I was into that
Yeah.
movie. That sounds.
I actually enjoy the songs of 10 Things I Hate About You more now than I did back at the time.
Sure.
Oh, whoa. Okay, yeah.
Well, this has become a very introspective. We're really learning things.
Double disc CD collection, Matrix Reloaded. I don't know if you guys remember that. Fucking huge release. Double disc. Take us out of here, please, Lisa.
Yeah, you got it. All right, guys. Thanks so much, friends, for hanging out with us. This was so fun, as always. Thank you to Mark Thomason, who is working all of the magic behind the scenes with the camera angles and the sound effects and just keeping us running with the studio. Thank you so much, Mark.
Mark.
Thank you to Aaron Buman, who did our intro and our music. And I think we had new stuff today, right? Yeah, all of that beautiful stuff. And our bumpers. He's an incredibly talented artist that works with us. And you can find more information about him in our Discord if you would like to join. Thank you to Mark Workey, our mod, keeping chat going. And
Making that website.
Yeah, she got the website. We got the website.
We're
up and running. I can't see it for some reason. My phone's blocking me, but I'm gonna figure it out.
And you should join our Discord because people put awesome stuff in there, like some cinnamon rolls that I just saw tonight when I logged back on Discord for the first time in like a month. Sue, hell yeah.
Yes.
And lots of
Yes.
others. I'm singling that out just because
We're pretty active in the Discord too. Well, some of us are pretty active in the Discord, so you can chat with us. It's cool. Come hang out with us. It's fun. Yeah, so thank you, Mark, so much for all that you do. We really appreciate you. Thank you to Zombie Orpheus for hosting us here. And Zoe's got Zoe Game Night tomorrow night, unless Mark tells me. Okay, yeah. Yep, Zoe Game Night at 6 p.m. in their Discord. I think they play Jackbox games. Super fun. You can just join. Don't need anything but a phone or a tablet and some internet. Or
Remind us
Wi-Fi.
about what you're doing this month, Lisa.
What I'm doing this month?
Yeah,
What am I doing?
for Lupus.
Oh, yeah. I'll be streaming on Saturday. Resident Evil 8 is releasing. I'm going to be playing it on Saturday. I have some news that I can't share yet about that. I'll tell you on Saturday. And then I'm going to be fundraising for, it's Game On to End Lupus. So I will be fundraising all day Saturday for the Lupus Organization of America. I think that's what it's called. In a hunt, or they're trying to raise money to end lupus, figure out what's going on, research and treatment. So you can come hang out with me, and any donations will be paid forward to them. And then Monday is the Reliables. I don't know why I said that like that. My brain's not working. Monday is the Reliables. Amazing Zoe show with Christian and James and company, a bunch of phenomenal actors getting together having fun at 6 p.m. And then we will be back here Wednesday hanging out next week.
Yes, we will.
Yeah, if you need a second show, guys, Reliables is super fun. It's just a real good time.
I'm whistling. I could never whistle before.
I can't whistle either. I can get one note.
Give us your one note. Nice.
That's very whistling.
That's what I
Yes, because we're in a bumper where no one can hear us anymore.